Welcome to the RedBlue Pod number 93. And we got a lot going on today. How are you, Chillmonger?
I'm doing excellent.
This is amazing. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you again. So that's great. Great panel right now. How are you, Alex?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Just got out of a terrible flu, but I'm okay now.
Oh, that's a good thing we do it Thursday then. I can guess Tuesday would have been worse for you.
I would not have participated. I was too sick. Also, nice to meet you, Chillmonger. First time meeting. Nice to meet you,
So
sir.
Yes, sir.
Alex joined in 2 months ago now
Yep.
Among Us, and he's there every week because he likes movies and he has better taste than me. Um, that's a
I
meme
mean,
now.
that's not it's not difficult to have better taste than you.
What about you, DC? How are you today?
Been doing good.
Perfect. Well, now we will start off with The Walking Dead. I know Alex hasn't seen it, but there's not much uh, to spoil because let's be honest, the
I mean,
right
I've
thing
seen
is.
it.
Oh, you have seen it? You have
I
seen
mean,
it. Oh, I'm surprised you have seen it.
yeah, I mean, it's a terrible show, but I've seen it.
I'm surprised you have seen it. Okay,
I
well,
saw. Yeah, I was watching it. I was watching it as it was coming out, but at some point I stopped because I was tired of it being bad and then never getting good.
well, I'm surprised. I'm kind of shocked. We could have talked about it last week and the week prior because we are in season
Mm.
3 this week. I'm surprised. I didn't realize you have seen it. Wow,
I mean, I
that's
don't
amazing
remember
news.
shit. I don't remember shit. I just remember that season three is the prison one, right?
Yeah, with the baby, baby in the
Right.
prison,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Okay.
the guy that go nuts and shoots everyone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I think it's meant to be said with a British accent. Governor.
Eh.
I
Go,
think
yeah. So, before we really dive deep into season 3, I will ask Chillmonger first. What did you think of the first 2 seasons? So, as a refresher, season 1 was the shortest one. It's really a setup. It ends with the lab, and season 2 was the farm. So, what did you think of the first 2 seasons?
Well, season one was just like standard regular stuff. It was there's a time lapse, and well, what's the new world? My wife is now with another guy, and the surprise at the end that we're all infected. It mattered. It really felt like wow, this changes. This is world changing. This is huge. It really didn't though. Like we remember that helicopter that we saw
Yeah.
in Atlanta, and we were like, oh, okay, there's a helicopter, but we never ever like until years later do we see another sort of like a helicopter or some sort of like sign that there's still a thriving city, or place. We go so far that it didn't even matter that we got to see a helicopter. So there were a couple of strings. No, let's call it long form storytelling that we didn't get immediately answered in number one. So it kept us along to hear and see what's to come.
And it's funny because you mentioned the helicopter, but if I remember correctly, they also mentioned that maybe they imagined it and the helicopter was never there in the first place. If I remember correctly, that was a statement. People see stuff because loneliness kind of break their brain to some extent. That was said at some point. So
But they had characters. Glenn was really cool with the red car. Merle was a cool character, and Daryl, and of course, Lori was interesting. I'll give her that. Interesting. But what was not Carl, but um, oh my God, Rick's friend
Shane?
Shane,
Shane. Oh my God, and his best scene will come in season 3. But yeah, Shane was amazing.
he died in season 2.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Yeah, on the farm, his best scene came on the
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because I
actually.
was like, yeah, tree is like a mirage on the only scene he appears in.
I was like,
Um,
that's some shade. Like his best scene is when he's dead and not there.
That's not what I meant.
oh my, and like I kind of add something there. Like season 4, I started it. Damn, this show is so bad now. It's like can't believe people made it far with this show. Anyway, let's go back to season 3. Season 4 is next week. So before we really dive deep into season 3, I will ask DC this time around. What did you think of the first 2 seasons?
All right. What the
I
first
will be
season?
right back. I have an important call. I'm sorry. I'll be right
All
back.
good.
All right. So the first season, I definitely thought it had its problems, but I definitely think it was still a good season. Some of my problems is what Cole said in the video. Like I do think the season's a bit too short, which I think is a bit of an issue for me because I never got to get the chance to learn more about the characters. So that's why I thought it was a bit of a problem. If they did like a 7 or 8, I'd be more fine with it. I thought that I do think that the season did make some of the characters look really, really stupid because in this season they are fine using silencer, so it's like they did exist in season 1, yet they didn't even thought of bringing them up or at least searching for them to help them. So it kind of makes that season look a little worse. But other than those few things, the season overall is pretty good. I'd still say it's a pretty good season. I mean, it's pretty intense. It's horror fun, which it's supposed to be, and I do enjoy the action. I will say that. Now I want to also address that I do actually have some history with Walking Dead, even before I even began watching it. So that's why, if you ask me, what's the number one show that's closest to me? That's obviously not SpongeBob. Let's be honest.
How can
Yeah,
you
'cause of
compare
course.
these two, bro?
I can compare them. Okay, so I'd say The Walking Dead because it's the one show that I remember most from my childhood, if you ask me. But yeah, I'd say I even remember this more than even SpongeBob, which it's saying something.
Yeah, the more shocking thing is that your parent lets you watch it. I mean,
When I first watched in 2016, I was like 9 years old. I didn't really care back then. This time I kind of care because I want to know, because I knew, fun fact, it's actually it's actually a comic book show. So I thought, let's see how it is compared to other comic book shows that I do enjoy. And I'd say it's arguably just as great. But yeah, so that's why I'd say, yeah.
okay.
So that's my, yeah.
Do you want to add more?
Yeah, I'm still gonna add a little more. So pretty much other things I enjoy is I do enjoy the character development. Hot take, I actually say I do like Rick's wife as a character. A lot of people really do not like her, and I never get the hate. I bet Cole was here right now.
She was sleeping with Shane.
And she has no growth whatsoever. She is the same when we first meet her, and when she dies, she is the same.
I mean, not really for me, but that's just me.
Wait, not really. She wasn't sleeping with Shane. They didn't say, Lori, now who's the baby? Like we didn't have discussions about Judith.
Hey, first off, she didn't know that Rick was dead, and second of all, at least she regretted doing that.
And she's also an hypocrite because she was lying to him the entire season 2, and then when Rick tells her one lie, she's like, "I hate you because you're lying." Bro, no, Laurie is like unbearable. She's entertaining, I gotta admit, but she's not a good character whatsoever. So, do you want to add more about season 1 or 2 or both?
I think that will be enough for season 1. Now I'm gonna give my actual opinions on season 2 because you completely forgot to read it. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, same guy who asked me to put more dots in my reviews is the same guy who essentially fails to review to like he mixed up my Amazing Spider-Man and didn't even review my Walking Dead, and I sent it on Discord, so just so everybody knows. Sorry,
I got things mixed up. That's my fault. Guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, season 2, I think it actually improved upon what worked and what didn't work in season 1. I do feel like the drama was a little bit better. I feel like they handled it to a point where it became bearable. At least the drama between Rick and Shane. Hello. Yeah, like I said, Rick and Shane drama is like 10 out of 10, peak drama.
Oh, that may be an odd take. I think that's the odd take we got here.
It's
Do
actually
you
not.
guys remember Rick and Shane drama? Chillmonger and Alex?
I liked everything that they had, every fight that they had, every
Yeah.
like coming together they had was all. I was always invested in Rick and Shane.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm the
gonna
crazy
be
one. Then.
honest.
Yeah.
No, I hate it also. I think it's not well written. I think it's just superficial conflict because there's nothing else going on in that fucking show. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there kind of was. They had to deal with pregnancy and all that. So, and
Yeah, but
meeting people.
they make Shane an asshole just for the sake of being an asshole. Like he doesn't have any real motivations to be a dick, and he's just a
I
dick
mean,
to be a dick.
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
this is kind of what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it where you didn't know who really was right and the wrong, but they just made you sad more with Rick because at least you could kind of see where he's coming. With Shane, they at times didn't make him reasonable, which I think works well. Which that's definitely one thing I will talk about with season 3 for in a bit. So that's what they were trying to do. Because there are times Shane was right. I'll agree with that. But I don't agree with almost anything about Shane. With what he did, obviously. But yeah, there are times he could be in the right. Like episode 3, one of my favorites, is definitely one episode I think he definitely didn't do. He did something bad. But yeah. I do enjoy some of the new characters. I like especially Herschel. Fan favorite. Great character. Yeah,
I can't
great.
remember that. Which one is it? The straight.
The
It's the old
Is
guy.
the
the
old
old
man. He's
Oh, okay.
the old
Okay.
man. Yeah. I will say a lot of the characters are better written, like Dale, T Dog, and many more. Now you ask me, I do have some problems. The drama, like I said, even though the drama between Rick and Shane is the best, anything else is a little bit hard to get through at times. And Andrea's character arc is just you just want to like just yeah.
Well,
Stink.
Andrea was actually decent in season 1 and 2. She was just
What?
godly awful in 3. She was like terrible in 3. Like they made her so stupid in 3 just for the sake of like being stupid. Like, no, just no. Season 2 was peak Andrea, bro. Even there, she had shitty materials, so it's not much being told.
Gray and Cole are probably lucky that they didn't just hear that.
Alex, what did you think of Andrea, the blondie girl, that wanted to delete herself in season 1, but season 2 she's like, "Oh
Right.
yeah, I will fight back now."
Yeah. Look, I think one of the worst things about the show, well, at least starting season 2, is the god awful character writing. Um, when they all like they don't really they change, they have arcs, but they don't they're not really good arcs. Like they do change, but it's never natural, never flows correctly. It's just that they need to get to like yeah, Andrea, she season 1 suicidal, she needs to be a cool survivalist for season 2, but we're not really going to see that progression.
She's ear and ear.
Yeah, exactly. And that, yeah, so the writers just put her where they need her to be without really, but it's not deserved because we didn't see that psychological character progression.
I mean,
And
they tried to do it, but I think they did poorly, especially when the fact that when half the time they didn't, all they had her was just wine. I mean, I mean, there were times I just wanted her character to die because there was really nothing important with her. But yeah,
She's a
Look,
survivalist, bro. Until she dies.
I know why this show. I
mean-
fully know why the show got terrible at season 2, starting season 2. It's like honestly, I was on board at season 1. I fully was. Like I liked it. I liked the characters. I liked what it was doing. And then the showrunner, Frank Darabont, got fired by AMC because the show was too expensive to make because of his decisions. Like, and and so they hired someone else, and here's what they did. They cut the budget in half, but they ordered twice as much episode as the first season. So here's real things that they asked the new showrunners. Is it possible that we just hear the zombies instead of seeing them?
Or,
It's a real thing.
or shoot all of the scenes 9 times so you don't see shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can still see stuff at night.
Like they have
bro.
no reason to fucking stay at Urshul's farm for a full season.
Or the prison.
Yeah, they just why? Because it's more it's less expensive to shoot indoors.
And on top of that, the lighting is godly awful. Like most nighttime, I can't see shit. I'm like,
Oh
bro,
my god. I don't want to ever rewatch the seasons to see that.
It is less expensive to shoot indoors, and we barely see zombies. Why? Because for that they need to have like a bunch of extras. They need to have to spend money for the makeup. They need to do VFX for the crowd scenes. And yeah, the MC was just like, nah, that shit is too expensive. We're just gonna see like one zombie every 3 episodes.
that's
And
generous, bro.
And it's all gonna take place indoors.
Maybe
So-
you get a lucky shot where you got a zombie in the scene in one episode. Like,
Yeah.
But
But I
if
mean,
you're lucky.
that's the whole point of The Walking Dead, is that zombies really are not really meant to be a huge threat. That's why coming from this season onwards, they become less and less, which I actually think it works well. I mean,
yeah,
look
but
at
the show is called The Walking Dead.
yeah. I mean,
at least I'm
it's-
not the only one with a unique take. Thank
No,
you,
I mean I get it.
DC.
I get it. Like the Walking Dead is supposed to be like it's
About trauma.
yes the zombies, but the survivors also. The title is telling you, hey, these guys are basically dead already. They just don't know it. That's kind of also what the title implies. But guys,
Yeah.
at least make the characters interesting. Do something with the writing.
they do.
No,
least
bro.
They do the bare minimum.
Let's introduce 10 new guys. We will all delete them off without telling you a thing about them. They were just there
Yeah.
to die.
That's
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 season
also
40
kind of the point.
nutshell.
Multi, that's kind of the point. No, it's meant to show even your favorite character is unsafe, no
But
matter
no,
what.
but no, because they never kill the favorite character. They kill randos that come in for one episode.
They do in season 6.
Oh, I cannot wait. At last.
All right, they kill it. They
And,
kill
and,
it. Yeah.
and they got a big character in season 2 to
Yeah,
die.
Shane and Dale, but I will admit, season 2 took some risk, but season 3, like, I feel like Lori, they deleted her because they were like, oh, we don't know what to do with her anymore, so let's just make her die
a lot of
when
these characters
she
died
has a
because
kid.
A lot of these characters died because the actors were asking for much more expensive salaries
Mm.
for the next season. That is truly like you can look that shit up. Like there's loads and loads of documents, interviews talking about the shit production of that show and how like they wanted it to be bigger and bigger with each season, but they wanted to spend less and less, which is the stupidest fucking thing ever.
Yeah. Anyways, a few more things I'll talk about with season 2 is I do like that how it has a lot of setup for the future of the show, because if it wasn't for season 2, some of the later stuff, yeah, and that's kind of why I do like season 2. It's meant to get you also into that world. And the thing is, it kind of is. This is how I view The Walking Dead. I view it as a realistic show. It means you kind of have to view it yourself in their eyes. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like Arrow or The Dark Knight, where you just have to put yourself in that as if what if zombies were real, and that's kind of how it would happen. But yeah, so that's why maybe my criticism is a little bit different. But yeah.
Sure. I get it.
Anyways, now we can go
Right.
on to season 3, and I guess I will start.
Yeah.
All right, so season 3. This is unfortunately with me when the show started going downhill, because I'm gonna start with some of my biggest problems with season 3, and that is I do believe that they made the main character way too the main protagonist, I should say, not main character because group of people, but as they made the main protagonist way too antagonistic to a point where it kind of sour on the whole humans versus humans on in the zombie apocalypse. That's mainly because I like, if you ask me, what's one of the things I enjoyed about season 2 was how with Rick and Shane, you never really got the sense that either of them were wrong. With the governor, in this case, it kind of is. Governor didn't really do anything crazy bad, and almost everybody hated him. At least in my
Well, it was like abusing mentally people. It would like almost twist their arms so they could stay, and like whoever
that's
wanted to leave would be tracked down like a prey or something, bro. Like even before he went crazy and shot everyone down, he had issues, bro. Maybe rewatch season 3.
yeah. But like I was saying, I never really thought the governor was that evil of a character, if you ask me. Yeah. Other issues. Drama on steroids. Yes, that's me just copying one of Multi's quotes. But yeah, I thought the drama this season was so bad to a point it became like the most unbearable thing. For me at least. Um, Prison is cool. The zombies are less of a threat, which I kind of expected by season 3. And that's kind of how I view it. I think by like a certain season, I just try to. I really don't pay attention to the zombies because they don't have any development, which they're not supposed to, and there's nothing they can do with them. So it's kind of understandable. Um, I will actually admit this. I really did not like Woodbury. Probably the only person who didn't like it. And I'm gonna be honest. When I first watched it, I legit thought I was watching a completely different show. I'm being dead serious. I thought, am I watching The Walking Dead? And then I realized, oh yeah, I am watching it because this feels so off and doesn't even fit with the whole show. Like, if you ask me and like if you ask if I was watching a scene in Woodbury with the governor, and you ask me and you say this is The Walking Dead, I'd be like, no, it's a completely different show. And I had to watch it. I was like, oh, it is. So it made me question if I was even watching the same show. I was like, yeah, points off. Rick is still cool. He still has some nice development, especially with Lori, who unfortunately
She
dies
died
this
in the
season.
first episode, bro.
Episode
Like,
4, but yeah.
oh, really?
Um,
I forgot like 3 episodes happened in between. Wow. Damn.
multi.
There's a producer who said on one of the after shows, every time we do Walking Dead, we need to make it 6 weeks, and then we change the show all over again. That's what we do.
And they
Yeah,
didn't
it's
really
fucking
do
stupid.
it.
It's a terrible idea.
The worst in that they didn't really do it
Hmm.
because it felt the
I
same.
mean,
I'm
they
sorry,
changed
like
locations.
yeah.
He said that in season 4, so that's when they were changing. That's when we got those carnivorous people, or not carnivorous. What's the word? Cannibalistic people. Like
Yeah.
that's when he said that.
But they were set up in season 2, and I was surprised they were not a thing in season 2. I was like, they set up like like fresh people dying from something else than zombies, but they don't address it at all in season 3. So I was like, did they forget about it? Apparently not. I'm actually curious to see season 4 now.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think even the characters start getting used to the fact that zombies over time, like the first 2 seasons make sense. It's starting to get to the apocalypse, but like around season 3, they just don't care, and it's like they're not even a threat. Same with in season 4, season 5, season 6, season 7, season 8, season 9, season 10, season 11. It's like they become less and less of a threat because realistically, if you ask a normal sane person like me, which one is more like more of a threat, a human antagonist or a giant group of zombies? I'd say human antagonist because even if say you take them down, you don't know if they're still alive and all that. And yeah. So yeah, that's why I'd say later on, I think zombies becoming less of a threat actually works perfectly well. But yeah, any of my other issues, season 3, I will say Michonne, the black woman, just for multi's sake, because he doesn't remember any of the character's name.
Why
I
did
thought
Oh,
she,
her. Oh, I
yeah,
remember her now.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
she's the
only
one
just
with the
saying that
katana.
because multi, unfortunately, you don't really remember that
I would
much.
have called her Katana Girl.
But what is your problem?
She was
I just,
amazing. Katana Girl was the best character in season 3, bro. Like,
I'm gonna straight up say hot take, but I thought she was pretty unlikable in season 3.
that
And
was her.
yeah.
That was her character arc. That
I
was
thought.
her character arc, bro. That was her character arc.
I mean,
No,
yeah, but I mean,
I
they
can't believe
still.
it. DC.
I mean, I just thought she was unlikable in season 3. That's all. Nothing bad.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
her
but it's
character arc, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you take Homelander from The Boys, and like I don't. He's kind of an
He's
asshole.
deleting
Yeah,
people.
that's the point.
well, Michonne is meant to be a protagonist, not really an antagonist like
But
Homelander.
she's not. She wanted to save Adria. She wanted to help Adria. It's just Adria that's written in a stupid way. Like, no. And you know what? A lot of dumb character in other shows would have snapped at Rick when Rick wanted to trade her at the end of the season. But because she's actually a well-written character, she didn't go crazy on Rick for like even thinking of like selling her off to save the group. So she is a goddamn good character. And they can delete anyone else in the show. I don't care. I want to keep her alive. And because I said that, they will delete her.
Oh god, yeah. And finally, my last negative is Andrea. I think this is her worst season, which that's saying something because she sucked in season 1, season 2.
She wasn't in season 1, bro.
She was in season 1.
No. She appeared at the end of season 2 when Andrea was like facing off like a bunch of zombies, and now she appears with the katana and she like slices a bunch of people.
I'm not talking about Michelle. I'm talking about Andrea.
Oh, okay, Andrea. Oh, okay, I see.
All
Okay,
time.
yeah, you're right. She
Yeah,
was there
I
on
thought
season
even
1.
in season 1 and 2 she sucks. This season she arguably got worse. How it happened, I have no idea. Now that said, despite all my problems, I will still say this season is still watchable. If you ask me would I rather watch this season or Daredevil, the Netflix show, I choose this season, because despite my problems, there are some good things about this season. I will straight up say, the governor. I thought the governor was best part about. I did multi laugh. He can't take my opinions.
Dude leaves when he hears a take he doesn't like, but yet you're the one with the worst takes of them all the time, nonstop.
Yeah.
And we stay. We're there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, multi, but yeah. Anyway,
That's so insulting for Daredevil, bro. Oh,
anyways, I do think that this season, the governor, and this season, the main villain, he brought on this season. He's like the only thing that was great throughout the entire thing. I thought he's easily one of the best characters. He in this way saved this show, at least this season. Herschel again, phenomenal character, definitely improved this season. Let's see. I will also say that I do think Lori in the first 4 episodes had a lot of development. Still enjoyed her character. Glenn, the Korean pizza guy that everybody mistakes for Chinese, that guy, I thought he was great this season. I didn't really thought much about him in the first 2 seasons. Just thought he was their kind of character. This season, he's definitely improving and grown. Daryl, crossbow guy, thought he had development last season, which in first season didn't like him. Season 2, great character. Season 3, even better character.
Crossbow Guy was cool. I like
Yeah.
Crossbow Guy. So, like in my ranking of the characters, my favorite is clearly Katana Girl, and it's followed by Crossbow Guy.
Yeah. Overall,
So yeah, they love the show. Like you can say the names, you know.
I don't remember names, bro.
Go
Katana
on
Girl
the
and Crossbow Guy.
IMDb page.
And when I call the main character, I call him the lead or the main character.
even
Go
though
on
it, even
IMDb.
though
When I speak about his son, I say son or kid because he's like the only kid that really matter.
Carl.
I mean, the main character's name is Rick. They literally say it all the time, and I get it's a bit busy with everything, but it's like, yeah. Plus, in almost every Marvel DC poster I've made, he's literally on it, so it's like, it's Rick. So
And what happens when all the characters are the same description? If you watch Dragon Ball, you say the orange guy, but like they all wear orange. Like, what do you call
Exactly.
Goku?
Well,
Kakarot?
it's a bit different because I grew up with Dragon Ball, so I do know them
Ooh.
better.
Mhm.
But that's different because like it's older, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's old memories. It's like childhood memories, you know. But even there, like I don't know everyone. Like I know the main ones, not the ones from Super or something.
Yeah, like Goku, but yeah,
Yeah, Goten.
Yeah.
Trunks.
Ryu, but yeah. Anyways,
Piccolo.
other things I enjoyed about season 3, I will say that Merle, Crossbow Guy's brother.
That was a terrible character that only happened to be in the show to die, so we have material for the brother. But keep going, bro.
I like to. I mean, I thought in the first season, I swear, everybody's just leaving because of my hot takes.
But
that time around is my fault. That time around, it's my fault. I brought this on me. Oh,
hi, Gray.
We are crowded. How are you, Gray?
I didn't know that I was creating a crowd. I'm doing good. Sorry for crowding the place up.
No, that's fine.
Perfect, Gray.
So we were right into DC's bad takes that will be clipped. No, I'm joking.
I heard some of them.
So you can keep going, DC.
Okay, so continuing what I was saying, I thought Merle Crossbow Guy's brother, first season was just their character. Season 3 got some development, but I do think he's not as fun and enjoyable as he was in the first season. But yeah, and that's all my likes. If you want, I can give my ratings now or later.
Not yet, because you're the only one that talked about it so far. So I will also add this. Even if the brother of Crossbow Guy kinda sucked, I think his moment where he died for trying to delete as many people as he could was actually amazing. That was like his best character moment because like he got some kind of growth. He went from very selfish to like, oh yeah, I will actually self-sacrifice to like do the best thing I can do before I go out, and that was actually amazing. But outside of that moment, I thought that character was kind of shit. That was his only great moment. So yeah, I will let Chillmonger go second on The Walking Dead third season with the prison stuff and the baby.
Because the prison stuff is interesting. Something that you would use to keep people out, all of a sudden, it's being used to keep people in. And because they've been kept in, those prisoners were ignorant to the world going on, and they're still slimy people who do what they gotta do to survive. And that it's rare to get another time. We did what I don't want to spoil something, but in the future we will see other people who were kind of isolated, who were kind of new to this, we didn't even encounter a walker since. But it was good because we're 3 seasons into it. Everyone knows what the show is about, everyone knows what the world is, but there were characters who didn't. And you couldn't do this in season 11, but you could do it now. So they got it out the way, and we got to see more people interact with the main characters. We got it with Rick. He was like fish out of water moment, and they had a reason for it with the coma and everything. But yeah, so good premise. The prison was a good home base, and I'm so sad to see the prison go when it eventually goes. So it felt like home, like it was cool. And they cleared out the whole cell, And again, walkers were more of a threat back then. When we get into like season 5, clearing out a whole block of walkers would have been so simple. Like, and plus, I heard that the skull gets softer, the skin and everything to destroy it, it deteriorates through time, and that's why for the storyline reasons for why they're so much easier to kill later on. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean,
That's
I
interesting.
even then I don't think it was really much of a problem that zombies are not that big of a threat, and also multi just letting you know. The reason why they call zombies walkers is because, in fun fact, in the Walking Dead world, the term zombies, like zombie media, zombie games, like Resident Evil, zombie shows, do not exist. So it's kind of a fun Easter egg that they added. But yeah,
That's
like
smart. I would do
yeah,
the same thing. I would make it so that zombies aren't a thing in my world, so no one ever has like the answer. They are all encountering it for the first time.
yeah, and that's kind of why the zombies are bigger threats in the first 2 seasons, because nobody knows what's going on. There isn't like, oh, let's just search up zombie apocalypse to see what's going on, and they will see, oh, it's like that. So it's like it doesn't exist in this world. But yeah,
And it's realistic though that there would be factions of people who would unite with each other, and their enemies are other people who are going to be stealing using resources and shit. So here
I
you see
mean,
the governor, yeah,
The governor.
seeing him and his group, and of course with the nasty stuff he had to do, and then he was evil and warped because he thought he could save his daughter, and he would like. It's kind of evil, but it's a motivation that makes sense to me because you just don't have information. You don't know that it's an irreversible effect. You don't know these things, so you're trying your best. A good, well thought out villain.
I don't see how saving his daughter or curing his daughter from a disease is necessarily a bad motivation for a villain. I mean, yeah, did they take the wrong route? Yeah, but I mean, for me, it actually made the governor a more appealing character, and it made him more a fascinating character, and actually made him arguably one of the best characters in the show.
And it made Andrea one of the worst characters in the show.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like I enjoyed Andrea in season 1 and 2 again. I will stand by it. But season 3, she was godly awful. Like she was made so stupid, so the governor looks smarter. That's as simple as that. Anyhow, Chillmonger, keep going.
The return of Merle was cool. It's one of the returns that mattered to me. Who's the guy from the first episode? Was his name Morgan? Morgan's return was cool when we got to that eventually in the future of the show. So one of the best, two of the best returns.
I can't remember any of their names. That's why I call the girl with the katana girl, and the guy with the crossbow guy.
How can you remember their weapons but not their names? Why is that their important feature?
Because that's what they use. Like, it's easy to identify them with their weapons. You know, who else use a katana outside of Katana Girl? Maybe later on in the show. Maybe later on in the show. I don't know. But at this point in the show, like, we only got one Katana Girl. So if we
you
get
haven't
like
met the samurais yet?
If we get to meet another Katana Girl, I will call like Katana Girl the new one number 2. And I will keep calling the other one number 1, or Katana Girl 1 and the other one Katana Girl 2.
Yeah.
Also, I do a better effort when the characters are better. Actually, Katana Girl may be the only one, if she remains good, she may be the first one I truly learn her name, to be honest.
Wait, you know her name? We've said it like 5 times already. What's her name?
Yeah, it's Michonne.
Katana Girl.
No, you're very much wrong.
You can't call her Okoye
There's
before.
so many good things that you're like, I don't know. None of the characters are memorable. I don't remember any of the names. Can you name one thing that you remember any characters' names?
Actually, Andrea, I remember her name, but only because she got under my skin and she got under my nerves so much.
I thought you were going to say, I have a sister named Andrea.
No. Well, actually, there was a girl I liked that used to call to be named Andrea.
I like that he's like, you tell him I have a sister named Andrea. He's like, no.
But I used to find Andrea pretty, so maybe that's why I remember that one. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
or maybe it's
they
because
should've-
she's just a goddamn terrible character that I
You
wanted to
talking
mark
about
down
the
exactly.
character or his sister?
No, the character.
the governor was a cool villain. Michonne or Katana Girl, the way she showed up and she kind of had like a leash over those two walkers. Yeah, I wanted to know the story behind that, and yeah, I thought it was a great introduction of her. And for every time we lose someone like Shane, if we could add another Michonne, that would make this show really, really hot and keep going full steam. We just don't get that though.
Do you want to add more?
On season 3, good
Yeah,
finale.
I do agree with that. Katana Girl for the win.
What's her name? We said it 10 times. What's the name?
Katana Girl.
Michonne girl.
I will
Michonne.
name her if she deserves it in season 4. I hope she gets good material.
Multi. Her name is Michonne. They say
Katana Girl.
multi. I
Say,
think
say it with me now, ma.
Yeah.
multi. I think you need to watch it with subtitles because
I do. That's the worst part of it.
But I thought you hated subtitles.
I hate it, but my website gives it by default. But most of the time, it's like in minuscule in the bottom right part of my screen, so I don't see the subtitle. But if I enlarge, I see it, and that gets under my skin. But yeah, yeah.
wow.
So, Alex, I guess you're next.
Sure. So
Season
yeah,
3.
It's been goddamn years since I've seen that show. Because again, I was watching it as it was coming out. You know, I was buying the DVDs of each season to watch it.
That's
what I was
brave,
doing.
man. I respect that, but
I don't have
Yeah,
them anymore though.
I respect that, but I'm wondering, like, do they deserve that money?
No, clearly not. But you know,
Oh
you
my.
live and you learn. You live and you learn, man. Yeah, I don't know. I barely. I do agree with Chillmonger about the prison thing. It is very cool to have these prisoners who have been completely ignorant of the outside world and kind of learn as they go. And yeah, that was the most interesting part of that season fully. And I want to say the only interesting part of that season for me.
Katana Girl.
Yeah, Michonne, she's cool. She's cool. She's a bit of a her character is a bit gimmicky with the katana, but she's a cool character. I will give her that. And yeah, but I don't really remember a lot. Again, like cool prison environments, boring character writing in general.
Except for Katana Girl, she's like she kick butts. She's amazing.
Sure.
But move on.
I mean, yeah, but having action scenes with that are cool doesn't make a character grow. It just shows cool action scenes. It's not the character; it's the directing. And I don't know, dude. I barely remember anything. It's been years. I wasn't even really that much aware that we were covering this today. So I have not thought about this show in years. So I don't know what to say at all. I just remember. I'll say this as a show itself, because I'm not gonna cover the other fucking seasons. Fuck that. As a show itself, I think that again, it started out very strong because it had a showrunner that cared, and then he got fired, and then the new guy was an idiot. He just wanted to save you money, and yet the show kept getting worse and worse as it went on, which was kind of fascinating to see.
Wait, it can be worse than 3? Damn, I didn't know that. Actually, 4 starts off really awfully bad, but I didn't thought the entire season would be like this. I'm surprised. But move on. Sorry, Alex. I'm just shocked. That's like a big reveal.
Yeah, anyway, but it's just a terrible show. And yeah, like the character, like the more it went on, it really looks like the actors stopped wanting to be there as more as it went on. Like, I think the only one who actually cared the whole way through is Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick. I think he's the only one who really cared about this thing.
The lead of the show. Cool.
Yes.
His name is Rick Multi.
The lead. The
lead.
father.
Yes, lead man. We'll call him lead man for multi. But yeah, lead man is the only actor who kind of gave a shit. And that's, now he has his own spin-off. I think it's the ones who
Yep.
left. Yeah, the ones who left.
Yeah, the ones
No,
who-
it's called The Lead and Katana Girl.
Hell yeah, I want to see that.
You
Yeah,
sure
I
you're gonna
know,
like
but-
it, Multi?
So yeah.
But I'm wondering,
mean-
is the kid still interesting later on, or he's just another jaded actor, even as a kid, as a child? I don't know.
Glenn or Carl?
The kid,
Yeah, I think he's talking about Carl. And for
the
me,
kid,
he
like
sucks.
the lead son.
Yeah, Carl. Yeah, and
Coral. But yeah, right. So yeah, as a show, I think it had a lot of potential because I've read not all of the comics, but some of them, and the comics are dope. They're really
Yep. Yeah, I
good.
agree.
Yeah.
We just, they
So
should have
how
just.
they effed up on that one.
I can tell you, again, it's because of it's a budget thing. It's fully a budget thing. They could not follow the comics accurately because of a budget thing. Because of the showrunners wanted to save money as much as possible. And yeah, that makes even like in terms of writing, those characters when they evolve, it's never really earned. They just change from one episode. They are this, and the next one they have completely changed. Emotional arc complete, but it's
180.
It's never earned. They never grow, and just for me, it's very hard. It's very hard to watch that thing and stay engaged with the story and the characters. Because at some point, I think they just saw it as a cash cow, and they didn't really care about what they were doing. And yeah, it's like that. The more it goes on, so I don't know. It's just a show that makes me sad when I think about it because it could have been great, and instead it was, that. Say what you will about the later seasons of Game of Thrones, but at least they gave a shit.
We should cover Game of Thrones next.
Well, actually, maybe
There we go.
it's a question mark because I'm not against the idea, but like we would need more than only us two invested enough. Have you seen Game of Thrones to the end, Alex?
Yeah. I actually love
Okay,
that
so
show.
maybe we would be three, so maybe that would be worth it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's somewhere in the planning because we
Yeah.
brought this up. And you have seen all 8 seasons, did you?
Yeah, I've seen all of it.
DC.
I've not seen it, but I really want to watch it.
So-
I hear it's very violent and bad though. Like not by
So-
bad, like horrible, but yeah.
At your speed, start watching it right now. Like even if we cover it like 6 months from now, at least you will have seen all seasons.
Yeah. It's just with that show and trying to watch the later seasons of The Walking Dead, at least from season 10 to 11.
You haven't seen 10 and 11?
I'm halfway through 10, like episode 13. But yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So it's
Well,
like
that's future stream anyway. That's like
Yeah.
more than a month from now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alex, any other thoughts on season 3?
No, again, like it's not so much thoughts about the season 3 as they are about the show as a whole.
Yeah.
As I said, it's the show and makes me sad.
I feel you, man.
So-
100%. I felt like season 3 could have been my favorite if it was handled by better writer because it had so many good things I like, but like the bad just outweighed the crap out of it. It's sad. Wasted potential and opportunities. So Gray, what did you think of Baby in Prison and Katana Girl?
Her name is Michonne. You've been told. It is really a shame that you don't, value or respect her or any of the other characters.
She's my favorite
Great.
character, bro. I do respect her because I
don't
gave her a nice
Call her
nickname.
by her name.
Imagine
Okay,
if you acted like that with us, like with people. Like, yeah,
Listen,
bald guy. Talking about me.
headphone boy. over the ear headphone guy,
Starman.
blur
Great
background boy.
PP.
I don't know, man. So it kind of sucked. There's elements of it that are good, but again, you kind of get the extension from season 2 where they weren't sticking with the source material and they're not executing well. And yeah, you get a bunch of characters that aren't kind of true to the comic book. And then on top of that, I don't know, they're just not well done. I started rooting for characters to be offed in this season, and don't think that's stopped. But yeah, it's got some good elements. Everything that you guys mentioned, the fact that, you generally lock people in here, but you can use it as protection. That's a cool concept. I think there's so much that could have been done with that. And then the governor, he's a pretty good bad guy. I think you could do slightly better with that, but I don't hate this depiction. He matches the comic pretty well. I just hate everything with like Andrea and a lot of the other characters. So I don't know. On the overall, this just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But like Alex was saying, I haven't seen this since it aired, so I'm just kind of going off what I remember. But I remember not being too happy with the prison season and thinking that they either could have gone really hardcore with the baby or not, but they kind of play it weird in like the middle ground, which I get it. It's a baby, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of this season. It left me wanting more, but not in a good way. I do dig Michonne and I do dig the Merle thing, but yeah, not too much good that I remember from this season. So that's about all I can remember.
You know what? I will add something about this show as a whole. And another thing that makes it terrible is that everything they do is just rehashed from other zombie stuff. Like everything.
Like 28 days, 28 weeks.
I mean, yeah, 28 days, 28 weeks. Also, the baby in the prison thing that was fully taken from the Dawn of the Dead remake that Zack Snyder directed.
That sounds terrible. What?
I mean,
it actually was pretty good. As far as any one of the whatever Ramiro remakes, it actually is up there near the top.
It's pretty good.
For a Zack Snyder, it's even up there.
I mean, we know Multi. He's not. You wouldn't like the Ramiro ones anyway because they're more than 5 years old. So
true.
But yeah, so this show. So yeah, that's what this show does. Just kind of rehashes tropes from zombie media. It does nothing original, really. Even with the character drama, it's all shit I've seen elsewhere and done better. And yeah, I don't know. It's a lazy show in every way.
I feel you, man. So before I roll the shit out of it, I'm wondering if any of you would like to add more. I guess not. So my first issue would be characterization ain't that great. Most characters are made
more wrong. Just because you can't remember any of their names doesn't mean there isn't characterization.
Wait.
Yeah.
Most characters are made more stupid than they should be, so the governor may end up looking good and smart. So
that's one character. That's not Carol.
No, he's right. He's fully right. I agree. He's fully right.
Everyone, like especially Andrea.
And you try sleeping in a zombie plague.
No, but he's right. It's called plot stupid when characters are suddenly made stupid and idiots for the sake of the plot, and yeah, they do that a lot in this show, and which is part of the bad writing of the
this
show.
Is why I like so much Katana Girl. I will admit I know her name, Michelle. That's why I like Michelle. Because she's the one that knew this shit.
Michelle.
You said Michelle,
I heard Michelle.
It's easier. It's faster for me.
Michelle.
It's the same number of letters.
So multi. You can't even remember. The name Rick is hard for you to say, but Michonne with Michelle.
Lead guy. So Michonne was the only good character because she was able to see through the governor. Let's be honest there. She is the only smart character in this show. That's just raw truth.
I just like how you just ignore everybody else. I mean,
because they are stupid this season. They are like, oh yeah, the guy will really do his part of the bargain if we give him Michonne. Or like Andrea is like, oh, I will just talk through the guy. Like no. Like Governor was unstable. He was shown to be unstable before he even shot everyone in the cornfield, or I don't know. Like, the sole fact that people would trust him doesn't make any sense because he doesn't deserve that trust. And I know it's coming from the viewer that has seen everything unfold, but all of these secrets and after told to
I mean-
everyone, it's like, no, bro.
I mean, the governor is meant to be a serial killer at the end of the day, so that's why he keeps all these secrets and lies. Plus, he's making two identities. So, first identity is to be a public figure and a charismatic leader to a point nobody can recognize. The other is being a complete serial killer. So, I don't get what I don't get it.
So again, I will admit, Governor itself is a great character, but what I hate about him is the fact that everyone else should be stupid, so he works out well.
Yeah,
even,
I don't.
the lead guy is goddamn more stupid than he should be, like, in order to make the villain look better. So it's just terrible.
I mean, I don't think they made. I think they just made. I think personally they made Rick too antagonistic at times, but I wouldn't necessarily say they made him stupid.
And I just realized another issue I got that I forgot to mention. Like, Rick's being unstable, like, it was a plot point early in the season, and this is why he chased away the good guy and the other three that were with the good guy, and they went at the Woodbury, I don't know what.
Yeah.
And it was depicted as unstable because of Laurie. It was losing his shit. But later on, they kind of forget this was a thing, and it doesn't really come back at all later on. So it's like, oh, we forgot that was a thing, so let's just move on. And
Yeah.
this is really
The
stupid.
interpretation of that is kind of weird. It couldn't just be that he got over it, or in that moment he's dealing with the grief, but then he realizes he's got two kids that are living that he has to take care of, so he has to actually man up and take care of it. I don't know, man. It seems like an uncharitable interpretation that they just forgot that. It's like, no, that was an event that happened in the beginning. It's not going to plague him for the rest of his life. But I don't know.
My issue is
think
it's not earned.
Written plot, but I don't think that's my issue with the plot.
It's not earned. If he really got over it, it's not earned, and I don't remember this shit really happening. Like, I remember the last scene with the old man saying, "Oh yeah, like, you're not well, you're not right," and like the next episode he seems right again, and like there's no like moment where it's like, "Oh, that's solved, that's healed." I don't remember seeing it. Maybe there was a scene I forgot about because a lot of shit is forgettable, but I don't remember a scene where he surpassed and overcame his struggle and trauma. I just don't remember it. I remember it being addressed, and then we don't hear about it again.
Yeah. Also, you now remember the lead character's name, Rick. Congratulations.
I let it skip.
By the way,
It took you this long.
I just want to say, for once, and this is rare, Multi has legitimate criticisms about something.
Hey, I always have.
It's only
Disagree
so
with.
legitimate, though. Like, I think the fact that you'd be, very affected by a traumatic event at the beginning of a season, and it's not really a thing at the end of it. I don't know that necessarily is like the worst criticism. It could be done better for sure, but
Explain
know.
it. Like, give a proper scene
okay.
where he overcomes it.
What is the scene that shows like all of a sudden like he just wakes up and like sees the sunlight and is like, yeah. Like, what is the scene that shows you that you are now over grief and can like be a father and the leader that these people are counting on and need?
Maybe have a scene with him talking to the old man, because the old man is the one that pointed out, oh, you lost your shit there. Maybe have a scene like that.
They do. It's just
I don't remember it. Maybe that's maybe you're right. I don't remember it because it's forgettable.
Great.
I hear your point, Alex. This did seem a lot more legit.
Great. Now I can kind of understand the pain you and Cole go through when just talking to Multi.
Anyway, next up would be pacing was horrendous. A lot of scenes in most episodes could have been either removed or trimmed down. 16 episodes is too many for the story they wanted to tell. I can bet the same story could have played out in 10 or 12 episodes if you just cut off all of the filler shit. They just,
He's right again.
I mean, for
Yes,
me,
I'm not arguing.
I mean, personally, I don't think it's an issue over how many episodes a season is. Same goes with The Walking Dead. I don't think it's necessarily a problem.
It is if there's nothing happening that moves anything forward, and you're just kind of stagnant.
I mean,
They just
that's
fill runtime. They're like, oh, we have 42 minutes to fill. Let's fill
well.
it with like small talk. That's
I mean,
all we do
that's kind
shows
of the
now.
that's kind of the thing with The Walking Dead, in my opinion. Is for me, it's hard for me to not to really point out filler, because some episodes, some important things happen. Some episodes, nothing happens. So it's like, all that, I personally wouldn't say it's filler necessarily, but yeah, maybe that's just me. But yeah,
I think it's just you, bro. And now you feel how I feel when I have issues that people don't agree with me on.
I
So
mean,
next up would be lightning was horrendous. A lot of the night time scenes don't let you see and understand what's going on. And now it'll tell me, oh, but it's nighttime, it's normal. No. Like any competent people in the lightning department will convey that it's nighttime and will let you see what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. And also, so they do. So from what I remember, they do a lot of day for nights on that show. Which is, they
Not
shoot during the
always.
day. They shoot during the day, but they do color correction to make it seem like it's nighttime. And they do it a lot in that show, and most of the time they do it terribly. To the point where either you can very much tell they shot during the day, or they make it so goddamn dark that you can't see shit.
I mean,
I
Like
can't rewatch the show.
Defeats the purpose. And why would you do that then? Why not just shoot night for night if you're going to make it that dark and you can't see?
I mean,
yeah,
it can
I
be
mean,
for a bunch of of reasons. Maybe to accommodate some
actors.
schedules
Yeah.
for the actors, or basically because they have a deadline day to shoot as fast as possible. There can
Fair
be a
enough.
lot of reasons to do day for night.
I've heard a lot of stories about many shows where like they can shoot 16 hours a day, and sometimes they're like they still need to do that nighttime scenes even if now it's daytime because they just didn't add enough time like in the 6 hours of darkness or such. So and sometimes I will wake up freaking early to still catch on to the nighttime
And
lightning and such.
I
also,
mean,
so
I mean,
I've
whenever
been
I watched the show at nighttime, it was the line was fine for me. So I, I don't know.
Yeah, now you got to rewatch it, and they'll poke all the flaws in this show.
No, I think I
No, I
just don't
think he
agree.
doesn't listen to us, bro. But keep going, DC.
What I'm saying is, when I watched the show, yeah, even during the day, yeah, it was hard to see at night or the dark times, but when at night it was fine with me. So I'm just saying. That's all I'm just saying. But yeah.
and one last thing about the lighting. And this is, I mean, I get that they had to shoot fast. They didn't have like a lot of time, but they do one thing with their black actors that they have a lot of trouble shooting them to make them visible during the night scenes.
I
This
agree.
is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing. Like
It's sad.
darker skin is harder to shoot because the way it absorbs light, and a lot of people, a lot of directors and cinematographers don't know how to shoot black people correctly. And this show clearly doesn't. Every time they have like they shoot black people in nighttime, yeah, it's really hard to see.
But even
And
the
when
white, bro, like
I
if
mean,
they cannot make it work with the
so they
white,
try to over. So when there's like a night like a scene where there's like a black actor and a white actor talking to each other, and they need to show them clearly. Usually they will overexpose the lighting so you can clearly see the black person, but the white actor is like his skin is basically like paper white because it's so much overshot in terms of exposure. And again, that show does that shit a lot.
and like because I'm thinking of it right now, like I remember a editing issue that baffled me when I've seen it. So we have the warehouse sequence where Andrea is like chased down by governor and now she opens the door and she finds a staircase with a bunch of zombies. Now she's like, oh damn, so I'll just close the door and oh, the guy will fall for it. And then the next shot they have which takes place really few seconds after she discovered all of these zombies in the staircase. They're suddenly outside of the staircase because now there are now a wall between her and Governor, and she can escape through the staircase. Why not like any scenes hinting at they moved? They just suddenly like vanished from the staircase and appeared
That's
in the same
that seems like a deleted scene issue.
But it really took place. Like, she closed the door, she wait by the door, and then she wait like 2-3 seconds, and then Governor shows up, and she's like, "Oh shit, I gotta run." So she opens the door, and no more zombies. It's really like the way they depict it. Even if they delete scene, the way they depict it, it should take place in the same really small time frame. So even if they deleted that scene, I just feel like there's a continuity issue there. And usually I don't always notice that. Last time I did notice that kind of issues was in Titan, in season 3 of Titan. We had basically a shot where it was snowing outside. The next shot, it's no longer snowing and it's nighttime outside. That's the last time I did that kind of visiting issue.
Yeah.
multi.
Usually I don't notice it. I'm sure there's more of this shit in this show. If that happened once, it can happen more than once.
I mean, yeah, it's probably a lot. You know.
Multi. Oh god.
Next up would be season wasn't consistent. We got a lot of solid episode and a lot of rock bottom episode. Like, to give you an idea, some of my favorite episode in this season are some of my top episode we got so far in the show, but like every worst episode we had in the show are also in this season. So it's like, bro, like we got all of the good, but there's just so much bad. Next up would be too many characters. Not everyone gets decent material. Good example, maybe the younger sister and Sophie's mother. These two characters are irrelevant,
Maggie?
and they didn't get a character arc this season. That was like the one that was
Beth?
called a lesbian. I can't remember her name.
Okay.
I remember that joke because I was like, man, that.
Can you
poorly
remember
aged.
Katana Girl's name?
No,
You
he
sure?
doesn't. I have literally no idea who he's talking about. Because see, Mola, this is the problem when it happens when you we had to give random nicknames.
Short-haired girl, like short-haired
Maggie.
girl.
Yeah, that's Maggie.
Yeah. So she didn't get any material in season 3. And I was like, why are you even in the show,
Wait,
sister?
do you think she's gay just because she has short hair?
No, that's someone that did a remark like that. I swear. When I heard that, it broke my brain. That was
Person's
one of
remark
the
from one
inmates.
time.
That was one of the inmates.
Multi.
One of the inmates. No, I swear. I think that was like episode 3 or episode 2. Like, one of the inmates was flirting with one of the teenager, and then the character that has short hair was like, "Don't flirt with her. She's still a teenager." And the guy's like, "What else do I have? Like, you're a short hair lesbian or something." You had a comment like that. I swear that was a comment he had.
I was just fucking with you, dude.
I don't know if that makes it better though, that's the only aspect that you remember about her.
Well, I remember she had a daughter in season 2 because the daughter kept coming back. Like, I knew the daughter name better than the name of most character in the show.
Multi.
Next up would be the action took a hit. There's less action, and some of the action is poorly executed.
They didn't have action that much in season 2, and that didn't seem to be a problem with you.
Because it was actually good action. It's just season 3. I realized they became even like freaking lazy with season 3. Like, I feel like they have fired like most of the people that were working on fight choreography and stuff in season 1 and 2.
But multi, I didn't personally, I don't agree with you, but I didn't thought of the action. I thought it was just good action, but they didn't save a season, obviously. But
next up would be characters are forgettable. I can't name most of them as guys witnessed it.
Skip this one.
multi,
So I did dunk on the show a lot, but I will admit some of the things I did enjoy. Governor was entertaining, despite my issues with the cast being goddamn stupid toward him. Most firefight were actually well made, smoke screen and proper cover and many targets. Like another scene I remember enjoying was the sniper on the rooftop. Like he had like three targets and they were moving and they were shooting cover. So I think lots of the gunplay was actually really good, and it's coming from someone that's complaining when people cannot aim. Here, I feel like a lot of the cannot aim could have been justified. Next up would be
So wait, multi have a question. So you just said just now that you thought the action was lazy, but now you're just
yeah.
so
I'm not saying that all of the action, but I just did notice that there was more action that felt off. So, like, of course, I will still notice it when it's well made, but there's still action that felt very off. Like, to be honest, I want to forget this season existed, so I cannot pinpoint exact episode. But I'm sure if I read through my my episode notes, I'm sure I will find out. But yeah, most of the action outside of the firefights was kind of bad. Um, I'm losing my voice, so I will drink water because I drink a lot of water. Oh, looks like I named Rick.
yeah, you named him a lot just now.
Congratulations.
Hell yeah,
Congratulations. You
success,
named the main
character
character.
growth, character growth. Rick and his son both going into their own struggle and great journey. Rick's son Gold Grow. Okay, no, it doesn't work for my throat right now. So I guess
Karma.
I
Multi.
got a lot of likes. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, judging from your definition of likes, I assume it's just like three things you actually enjoyed. Rest of it didn't.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 things I liked. So I will ask the panel for those who remember this season. What would be your top 3 episode and worst 3 episodes, starting with Chillmonger? Do you have no DC?
I'm just gonna quickly look it up, but yeah, I do have mine. So yeah,
So top 3 and worst 3.
yeah, I know top three and worst three.
I wouldn't be able to remember my top 3 worst. It's just been a long time. Finale was cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you the well. This episode was the best because Merle said this, and we thought he was truthful, and then Daryl thought this. I wouldn't know which episode it was.
I'm pretty sure the character that I wanted to die got killed in the finale, so I'm gonna go with the finale was the best part of it. But other than that, I don't remember it.
All right, yeah, and I just got my list. So for me, the worst episode of season 3 is let me just search it up. Is episode 3 Walk With Me. That'd be the worst. The second worst is episode 14. And finally, my last one is episode 8. Yeah, episode 8. Those are like the 3 episodes I think are just downright terrible. Nothing good happens in these episodes. But yeah, these are the only episodes I think of season 3 that are actually pretty trash and kind of fail to amuse me. Yeah. As for my 3 favorite episode, we have episode 13, Arrow on the Doorpost. I think it's easily the best episode of the season, just because it's just Rick talking to the governor. And I will still say the first 2 episodes are going to be 2 and 3 because I do think that they are well written. There is still some of that season 2 vibes that it still had, which sadly by episode 3 is unfortunately gone. But yeah.
Okay. So when it comes down to my worst 3, we got in last place season 3 episode 11 with a juicy 4 out of 10. And I will look into my notes to see if that may be one of the episode explaining why the action sucked. Oh, the first thing I see, Blondie is a dog shit character, so I refer to Andrea because at that point I didn't know her name.
Multi. So
Up until 5 minutes ago, she was Blondie and her sister was lesbian.
Oh my god. Multi.
I see Blondie everywhere there. I really hated her.
But
That's
she's not the only blonde person on that show.
But
Yeah,
in my mind,
all
Blondie
time.
was her. I know there's more blonde, but Blondie was her.
Multi, you're better than this, man.
Why do we even have names anymore?
Yeah, why? Why?
I mean, you kind of don't to Multi. He has to look at each time. Like I'm going to be surprised if he calls you the correct name now that you've changed it.
Oh, I forgot to mention another issue I had.
What did you forget to mention, Glasses?
Fuel. Like they've been driving for like many months without showing you like a tank of fuel or stuff at the gas station. So, what's going on with that? Okay, season 4 they fixed
So
it.
your
but
problem
season
with
3,
it is that there aren't enough gas station stops in the show.
yeah, like I'd rather
What?
pick a
Wait,
gas station
wait,
stop
wait,
over
wait,
all
wait,
of that
wait,
boring small talk we had.
Multi. So one of your main problems is because there's not that much gas station in the show.
Make them walk, bro. Walking
Well,
Dead.
So it's a Hyundai Tucson that they got sponsoring this season, of course. And just assume that they siphon the gas off of the other cars that are on the road. You know, that's how they've been able to fill.
Multi. I don't know what to say, but anymore.
So the second worst episode for me was episode 8 with another juicy 4 out of 10, followed by episode 10 with a 4.5 out of 10. So this was my worst 3. Now, when it comes to my top 3, it will clearly show the inconsistency in the quality of this show because we went from a 4 to, in first place, episode 6 with a 10 out of 10. Perfect, flawless. Followed by episode 5 with a 9.7 and episode 16 with a 9.7. And now my voice is coming back. So this is the closing thoughts on that amazing, wonderful masterpiece of a season. So since it's kind of blurry for a bald guy, do you still remember a grade you would give to season 3, or I could grade for the entire show? I don't know.
I
Out
don't
of
know.
10.
All right.
2
All
or
right.
3. It's terrible.
Okay. Okay, great. Would you remember a grade you would give to season 3?
2.
Hell yeah. Chillmonger.
7. Long hair dude. 7, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna do an experiment. For like the next few weeks, I'm just gonna keep the name Bald Guy, and we'll see if he remembers my name.
That's unfair. DC, what would be your grade out of 10?
All right, my grade is a 4 out of 10. It's not the worst season of the show for me. It has a lot of issues for me, and it's definitely one of the worst. But like comparing this season 3 of The Walking Dead to say Daredevil, this show is 10. This season's 10 out of 10. And yes, I'm gonna say of all worst seasons, every worst season of Walking Dead, I will compare it to the horrible Daredevil show.
The thing about the
Okay.
Daredevil show is that you're wrong.
By the way, if I collected well the clips for the compilation, there's probably a moment where we will hear DC take on Daredevil if I did cut the footage right. So it will always be in the internet. So my grade would be a 4 out of 10. And like every season has dipped out. Season 1 was a 9.5 for me, season 2 was a 5, and season 3 is a 4. And I'm looking forward to finish 4 if it goes even worse. Or if it comes better. If it becomes better, I will admit I was wrong. I will admit I am crazy.
Season 4 is not going to make you do that.
Oh, that's encouraging. So here we are. I suck at time stamping stuff, so
Here
it
we
will
are.
be Thor: The Dark World. But before we get into it, I will ask Chillmonger, what were your thoughts on Phase 1 of the MCU?
So cool. It was revolutionary at the time. And even though, like looking back at it now, even though some of these were franchises that didn't associate with other movies, it's really just Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. There was enough of a connective tissue in Agent Coulson that made it feel cohesive and required viewing and one story. We don't have that now, and so I noticed it in the past. And I loved it in the past too, that these were all the same world.
Okay. So I'm wondering, we had a very unique take from DC saying the Incredible Hulk was a 10 out of 10. So I will ask you, long hair dude, what did you think of the Incredible Hulk?
8 out of 10.
Oh, that's interesting. 8 out of 10. That's closer than I thought. So
Yeah, at least I'm not alone now. At least somebody understands me.
Colin is just shocked with this.
It really
Well-
was an hour and a half, yeah.
Most of it was just spent
Cole,
trying to see if Multi could remember the names of the characters. That was
yeah,
most
that's
just
what it was about. Like, okay, the first 20 minutes was me talking about the first 2 seasons because I wasn't here the last 2 weeks. But then it became Monty's what is it?
Katana Girl, Crossbow Guy.
Forgetting the character's name show. So hey, blame the villain of this podcast, Cole. Oh, God.
So, Chill, what would be your favorite Iron Man? And we talked about all 3 Iron Men together. What would be your favorite one? The first one. Okay. And how did you feel when you have seen Avengers?
Great movie. I can't believe what I just saw happened. That circle shot was revolutionary. I said it. That's the second time I used that word. I got to use my vocabulary. Let me. Magnificent. That's what it was.
I agree. So now we talk about, well, just before we talk about the fabulous Dark World, what did you think of Thor 1, the first one?
So it's my introduction to the character. I may have seen him here and there in cartoons and stuff. So the first movie, he was someone who just came on Earth and he was like all polite and stuff and like, I meant no disrespect. No, you can't throw that on the floor. No, okay. And like he was so cool. Natalie Portman brought it. Everything was nice about that movie. The villain was cool. It was all cool. The story, like the hammer and the rules about being worthy and whatnot, everything was. It got Thor across.
Perfect.
you're not gonna
Uh,
like me, man. I have I
So
have such a disdain for most of the MCU, and you have no idea.
so DC, I will let you go second on Thor. Well, actually, you can also share your thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man because I
Yeah, that's
effed
what I
up
was
and
gonna.
I mixed up your review with Cole's review last week. So
You mean
talking length
no,
about these two.
Multi, you didn't even mix up. You just read straight up Cole's and you completely ignored mine, even though I sent you it
I
on this.
mixed up, bro. I thought I was really yours, but I realized, damn, it's Cole's.
Okay, so for those that want to hear my thoughts on the Amazing Spider, I thought it's easily the best Spider-Man film. The film does what the Spider-Man comics completely fail. It makes Spider-Man more original, unlike the comics where they just try to make him a cheap Batman ripoff, which, yeah, I do consider Spider-Man to be a Batman ripoff. At least in this film, they actually give some depth. Throughout the film, Spider-Man is a teenager, like he's supposed to. I thought I do like the Spider-Man versus the police subplot, which is actually kind of referenced to almost every single Marvel or DC hero because they have had multiple, let's just say, not friendly encounters with the cops because cops hate superheroes because they essentially do their jobs and gives them less time. So yeah, makes sense. I thought the Lizard was a great character. I thought his plan was nice, really fun, nice. I thought his development was good, and plus he actually looks lizard-like. Like lizard's design, the head of the lizard is very crocodilian, which, in case you're wondering, no, almost no lizards have that crocodilian design or designed head, which I thought the lizard in this film did a great job that they decided not to do it because if you're becoming a were lizard, you're not going to have a crocodilian head. So that's one thing I do like. And I do like his connection with Peter. I thought that's the perfect way to make an original character is to make the characters somewhat connected. I do also enjoyed Spider-Man's romance in this film. Yeah. Overall, my overall score is 10 out of 10. Also, I'm gonna straight say the suit in this film is dope. It's perfect. Best comic book suit I've ever seen, at least for Spider-Man. Yeah. So overall, my score for the Amazing Spider-Man is 10 out of 10. It's amazing.
It's spectacular. It's fantastic. It's
Anyways, now let's get on to Thor: The Dark Knight. And yes, I said night, not world. But yeah. What are the nicest words to say about this film? Look, I'm gonna be honest. Most MCU films I downright hate. They're just ridiculous films and are just meant for action scenes. They don't care about the comics, so that's why it kind of pains me saying that I think Thor: Dark World is a bit of a mess. For starters, I do like some of the stuff they tried to add more depth to Asgard. The only problem is I just I just feel like because this film is pretty forgettable, yeah. I appreciate the color tone that this film had. It's dark, gloomy, which could have worked perfectly well for a Thor film. Just this is Disney, of course, they have to ruin it. Malekith, he looks cool. Um the ether with the red stuff or red dust, which essentially leads to reality stone. That not sure. I feel like this film was just meant to set up Infinity War and Endgame. That's kind of what I feel like the earlier MCU films were just meant to, not to not to progress the storyline, but just to set up of Endgame and Infinity War. So it's like kind of the purpose there is kind of gone. I do like that this film is more Asgard and Earth connected. I do appreciate that. Is there anything else I have? Odin, pretty crappy father and crappy character in this film. Um, Loki's reintroduction. Yeah, he's popular, but I don't think he deserved to have another film based on him. Like, yeah, he may be Thor's most popular villain, but just because he's popular doesn't mean you should use him again. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Anything else I want to add? I think I'm done. I have almost nothing to say because I think this film is pretty forgettable, pretty bland, and all that.
Okay. So I guess that was your review of Thor: The Dark World. Except if you want to add more.
I'm fine. I'll
Okay.
I'll pass the tortured torch to somebody else.
So bald guy, you're next because I know you're kind of negative. So let's have all of the negative first.
Yeah, cool. So, Thor: The Dark World accomplishes something incredible that most movies cannot do, which is it's one of the very rare films that I was forgetting as I was watching it. That is quite an accomplishment.
Like
for a
Multi.
film. Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So I remember that it opens with a fight scene, like a war scene, and much like the United States during World War II, Thor shows up at the end and claims the victory for himself and takes all the credit. Now, I do like Thor as a character. I think he's pretty fun, and in the MCU, it's mostly due to Chris Hemsworth's charisma, and instead of anything regarding the writing, and because the writing in this thing is so generic and so bland, it was one of the most boring watches I've had recently. And the thing is, it was my first time watching this movie. All right, I had managed to not watch it for my whole life, and you know what? I would have been okay with that staying that way. Now that I know what I know.
But then there will be no podcast to do with Mr.
Yeah.
Forgetting everybody's names that
Yeah.
tortured everybody for eternity. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Amber Guy, that's Thor, by the way, for you. So Amber Guy. But this movie tries to focus more on Thor and Jane's relationship, which I kind of appreciate, mostly because they do have chemistry, and I'm always happy to see Natalie Portman in anything. Like even when she phones it in, she's still a better actress than most. So it's very fun to watch her. And I think her interactions with Thor are very cool and very fun. But that's about it. Because the villain Malachite is incredibly boring. Probably the most boring MCU villain of the bunch, in my opinion.
Have you seen every MCU movie? Because I can point out to a few
No,
that may end up being worse.
yeah,
There's-
there's far worse MCU villains. There's Vulture, there's
two.
Mysterio, there
Vulture is actually good. What you're talking about? DC?
We'll get there when we get there, guys.
There's
yeah.
Killmonger.
Killmonger, I agree. He's a great villain.
He's a great
You
villain.
mean
He's a great villain.
Chillmonger, right?
No, I'm not a villain. No.
Hey, listen, I will argue that Killmonger was right in Black Panther, but that's me. I will argue that he's right. But yeah. So to get back to Thor: The Dark World, so I was watching this and I kept thinking this feels like a made-for-TV movie, and then I looked up who the director was, and everything
It all made sense.
Everything came together. It's Alan Taylor, who
But he
only
did good
directed
TV.
before. He directed
Sopranos.
a lot of episodes of Game of Thrones. He directed a lot of Game of Thrones.
Was it in the bad season or in the good season?
No. In the good, he directed like episodes from a bunch of seasons of Game of and yeah, and this movie looks like a Game of Thrones episode. It's not an insult in itself, but it doesn't work in the movie that's supposed to be like a grandiose superhero film. Everything looks gray and kind of brownish with some kind of nice reddish undertones. When some of the fire and the red lighting is there, but most of it looks very bland, which is sucky, especially when it takes place in Asgard, which is supposed to be a very colorful place.
Not really. It's like Gotham.
Well, in the MCU, in the previous Thor film, it was very colorful, and it gets back to being colorful in Thor Ragnarok and shit. But this is neither here nor there. So yeah, I thought the movie looked very bland in terms of directing. It's also very bland. Like again, this is a guy who directs TV, so he needs to work fast. And I think this is what happened. Like he didn't really make any efforts in terms of creativity when he was directing this. So you just get your basic shot, reverse shot, and pullbacks now and then, but most of it is very bland in terms of filmmaking. And the character writing is shitty too. Like you have Odin, and again they have one of the greatest actors of all time to play Odin, Anthony Hopkins. And all they make him do in this one is to do exposition dumps nonstop. That's his role in Thor: The Dark World, is just to explain shit to the audience. And yeah, as much as Anthony Hopkins is a great actor, no one can deliver that much exposition and do it convincingly. And like most of the actors don't seem like they want to be there. Like Idris Elba hates this shit, and it shows. He fully hates it.
He should have been a T'Challa recast.
Oh yeah, but yeah, he fucking hates.
I
this shit.
agree.
It shows.
I agree, Chillmonger. I agree.
And here's the thing: I do like the supporting cast. Like I mean, like the characters. The other Asgardians, they're cool characters.
I hope you don't think of the intern, right?
The intern?
There was an intern. He's a supporting character.
Oh, right, that guy. See what I'm telling you? That this is a movie that you forget as you watch it.
The intern is the best supporting character.
Darcy.
Darcy, hell yeah, Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy.
She is so needed. And it's hilarious because in Resident
Hey, listen,
Alien, we got
like Kat
another
Dennings,
Darcy.
so.
Another Darcy.
I like Kat Dennings, so I don't mind that she's there. I like her. But yeah. And like you have an actor, again, another great actor like, Stellan Skarsgård. And what do you have him do? Be naked and run around at Stonehenge. Cool.
Based.
Great. Thanks. Thanks.
Hey, first nudity in the MCU.
Yeah, true. And as far as Loki's comeback, you know what I like Loki as a character. I really like Tom Hiddleston as an actor. He really brings it every time he plays that guy. And yeah, sure, bringing him back is not the most original thing to do, especially since he was the main villain in the previous Thor movie and the Avengers. But the fact of the matter is, he is fun to watch. And Tom Hiddleston nails it fully. So I didn't mind, like in terms of screenwriting, sure, it's lazy that they bring him back and they don't do much with him when he returns. But hey, he saves me from the boredom. So that's a positive.
I mean, by positive, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't call that a positive.
He saved me from the boredom.
I agree with you, bald guy. I agree with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I do appreciate that he saves me from the boredom. But most of all, this is a very forgettable film, an extremely boring and uneventful watch. That I was fully paying attention, but I don't watch shit halfway like Multi does, like this. I don't do that. I try to get invested.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I try to get invested, and this movie is so hard to. He left, of course.
Multi,
so hard to get invested into.
Multi, you leaving this podcast, knowing you can't accept our opinion.
Yeah,
everything for a cheap laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's so difficult to get invested into this movie, even when you try. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I was kind of surprised to see Zachary Levi in this. I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh, he wasn't there?
Yeah, did you notice they switched out the actor?
Yeah, Zachary Levi. Like, okay, cool. It's nice to see a better superhero in that shitty movie.
Well, Fandral, the character, was in the first one. They just switched out the actor. I don't know. I didn't even notice till this watch.
Yeah, it's him. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up with. Yeah, I'm just very sad again because of this movie exists. I don't know. I was watching this and I was reminded of all of the boring and bland shit that the MCU was gonna do in the future.
Eternals.
Just
I haven't
wait.
seen the Eternals. I haven't seen them. I don't care.
Me neither. I only heard bad stuff about it. But we will watch it.
Better than Flash.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Oh, I'm actually hyped then. Okay, better than Flash. I'm hyped.
but yeah. So
multi.
again, I love Chris Hemsworth. I really like Thor as a character, but this movie is just so boring. It's so forgettable. I watched it yesterday and I barely remember anything about it. So, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Your turn.
so I'm basically just going to be echoing everything that Alex just said. I guess I can expand on a couple parts, but my experience is much the same. I totally forgot that I even watched this movie, and about halfway through, it's like, wait, I have seen this. I do remember it. And then I couldn't tell you what was going to happen. So I have only seen it twice, once when it first came out, and then once like 3 days ago. But I did a little bit of research, and so one of the reasons why it is weird, especially because they do have a pretty good director, Alan Taylor, who, as Alex mentioned, he's worked on Game of Thrones, he's worked on Sopranos. Like, he has some quality stuff under his belt. So, like, what happened in this? Well, it's the same thing that they've done to like almost every single director. It's the same thing they did to Favreau with Iron Man. They announced that they're doing Thor 2 before they ever talked to Kenneth Branagh, and he wanted more than 2 years to actually get everything together, considering how long he needed to spend to get Thor 1 up and running. And he made some weird choices with like the Dutch angles to like turn the page. But I don't know. I like his vision. It felt like it was a more complete world, if you will. And this one, it feels like it's kind of a muddled, not a cohesive vision. Like there's kind of a bunch of different visions in this. And that's because there were like 10 different directors that were kind of signed on to this at one point. And the one that was signed on the most was actually Patty Jenkins, the one who ended up doing Wonder Woman and doing an amazing job with it. She wanted to do
actually good director.
Yeah, well, so she wanted, and her career is weird too, because she did Monster and then like nothing but television up until her chance to do this. This was going to be her big comeback to the movies. But she was promised that they would do kind of a Romeo and Juliet story with this. And it would be kind of Jane Foster being the fish out of water in Asgard. Kind of a weird way of doing that. Some elements are still in this, but when she got the script back, it didn't reflect any of that. So she just completely walked away from it. So that's when they got Alan Taylor. And apparently they really screwed him over like they've done to a couple of the other directors. So he did get to shoot it his way. And I'm sure Alex is right because he comes from television, he probably shot things fast, but they completely locked him out of the editing room. He got no say in it whatsoever. So he didn't get to use any of his shots the way that he wanted to. And then at that point, they realized that they didn't have enough. So they actually brought Joss Whedon back in to rewrite every single scene with Loki in it. What? He wasn't really in this movie. It was kind of an afterthought. So it's really weird. And that's why this movie feels so muddled. And it's weird to me because like it sets up some stakes. Like all of a sudden Thor loses his hand. It's like, holy shit. Like, okay, are they going to go into, I can't remember what the like steel arm Thor is called, but there is a version of that's out there. So it's like, oh my God, are they going to go into this? And just no, like instantly they take it back. And then all of a sudden Loki sacrifices himself and is like, oh damn, like, okay, there's some stakes. Like Loki and no, they just take that back immediately. I don't know. To me, this movie doesn't accomplish anything. It's just like everyone's basically where they were at the beginning of it. Just there's some damage to Asgard. I don't know. To me, it's really forgettable. And I really wish there was so much more for this because there's some amazing actors. And Christopher Eccleston plays Marquette, which that could be an awesome character. And he's one of the doctors. He could have really played the hell out of this character, but he's so forgettable. And then even when you see like the dark elf world, it's so forgettable. And then the Aether thing, like it doesn't seem to make any sense. And why would you bring her to the dark world when the people from the dark world are looking for the, I don't know, like none of it really makes sense to me. But at the end of it, none of it really matters. And then there's some really underutilized actors in this too. Ray Stevenson was in this one, and Renee Russo was in this. She got like 3 lines. I bet you couldn't even name her name, Multi. I mean, not that you could in any other time, but did you even know her name was Frigga?
No. You're right. You read my mind.
Yeah,
you read my mind.
Really good actors in this that I wish they had just given a little bit more to do. But sadly, I don't know. For me, it's just kind of a disappointment. I just kind of forget this movie. But sadly, I think it is better than some of the Iron Man sequels. But that's not saying much. It's kind of bland. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. That's kind of where I fall down on it. Multi, you seem to have a better experience, didn't you?
Okay. I will say this. That was my second watch of this movie. My first one was in my first marathon I ever did when Endgame was coming up. I decided, you know what? I've seen at that point 4 or 5 MCU stuff, so I've watched the entire thing, and I hated this movie so much back then. And today, well, not today, last week, I should say, I was like, okay, let's rewatch it because I kind of forgot what happened in that one. I will admit I enjoy a lot Thor. He's cool, and I'm fine with him doing jokes, but I prefer the more serious tone. But there's the big catch. This movie.
It had too many white people.
I agree. Too many white people.
Yeah, too much.
Let's
Let's
I wanted
diversify.
more Griselda.
yeah,
It
more
needed more
diversity, you know?
Griselda.
We need more diversity. Like we should have gotten Chala at the Chala at that point, you know?
That's the first time we see the scene T'Challa, right? Why not? Asgard, Wakanda, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. So, okay. I got so many issues with this thing. And I really want to like this movie. I really want to defend it. Because I feel like it has the right tone, but not the right people in charge. It's just like I wished like make a new cut, like pick the best director in the bunch and make a better cut of that movie. I don't know. Try to salvage it, please. But yeah, okay. My first issue would be pacing sucks. A great example would be shirtless Thor washing his chest with filler and only fan service for the guys and girls into Liam Hemsworth. Let's be honest. What was the point?
Who's
Why
the
did
actor?
Into his brother.
Liam Hemsworth.
Well,
Hemsworth.
you got the last name correct.
No, you said Esworth.
Hemsworth.
Emsworth.
Chris Hemsworth is the
Ah,
name. That's the
well,
joke
sure.
that every
He
of
does
the
have a
actors.
brother, Liam, though. You did mention his brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mixed them both then. Thor, whatever. Thor, whatever. And what's your-
Hammerman. We can call him Hammerman for you.
yeah, Hammerman. Hell yeah, Hammerman. The humor doesn't land. The intern moment was painful. Like one of the first
Oh
few introduction we had with the intern, that was like, do you want to delete me? Can someone delete me? It's right, so hard to be funny. The naked guy is another unfunny attempt at humor. Pacing felt off, like throughout the entire movie. Scenes can be both cut and trimmed down. Lightning was terrible in most scenes. That was hard for the eyes to really see what was going on.
But is there an example of a 2011 film that had good lightning? Like Storm back in the X-Men, did she have a better lightning
She had good
performance?
light. She had
I'm
good
rusty
lighting.
with these X-Men movies. I gotta be honest. Like, I've
He's
seen.
fucking with you. He means because you're saying lightning instead of lighting.
Oh, wait, what are you
okay.
saying?
He says
Yeah,
it's-
lighting. Whatever. The light
Lightning.
shenanigans.
Yeah, not light.
The light shenanigans.
Yeah, light, basically. Well, just
The-
for your sake,
the light.
Killmonger, light.
The light.
You're not okay. I got you.
The villain was forgettable. Nobody can freaking aim. That's in the big shootout by the end when they are chasing after Thor for some reason. Humor didn't land. More bad light. The cannon fodder couldn't aim. So yeah, these are my big issues. Now I gotta admit, I like Thor, and I feel like that tone should fit this character and like what they were trying to do, but the movie is just not well handled. Um, the Thor and Jane moments were great. They have chemistry on screen. I did like that a lot. Um, the action, when there was action, I need to specify it because most of the movie is just talk, talk, talk. Um, so yeah.
But multi, I thought you loved movies that are just talk, talk, talk.
I like the music, and the mother's death was sad. I guess that happened in the movie. In case guys forgot, Thor's mother died.
Oh, I remember.
But I'm especially
What's
saying
her
it
name,
to.
Multi? What's her name?
I have no clue. That's the mother in my notes.
It's great.
But I know Odin. Odin is the father. That's one name outside of
that's
Thor
like-
that I know.
Odin. I mean
That's-
Odin.
That's
said
one
Ol-
character.
Odin.
You said
Odin.
Alden.
Odin.
Odin.
You
Odin.
know what's
Loki
You
was
know,
great. I gotta
sad
admit,
now.
Loki was great. I enjoyed Loki. Amazing Loki. I wished I had more of you, Loki. Maybe not the show because I heard only bad stuff about the show. But yeah, Loki saving Jane was entertaining. But that's funny because I have that in my notes, but I can't remember what I refer to. Oh, Chill left. No, what did I do again?
I think Joe not take your bad takes multi anymore. I think he can't take it.
But
Which,
I'm
to
sure
be
you had more positive stuff to say than us.
I mean,
So what happened with
that part-
Chillmonger?
I don't blame him.
Is he coming back? That's the true question. Oh, he's coming back.
Wait until we get to talking about the good movies in this roster. I hate them.
So yeah, I guess this is Chillmonger turn to talk about the Dark World. Did you have a better experience than us? I don't know what's going on, but we can't hear you.
You are
While I
muted, sir.
recognize that Thor: Dark World was one of the worst of the movies, at this point, like Phase 3, or Phase 2, it was a bad Marvel movie was still an exquisite time at the movie theaters, where I saw ramifications of the Avengers film, and it was a sequel to the first film also, and that concept mattered to me. This genre at this point was transformative. I like that they went to London rather than New York City again, and that was the first time we've been in London in the MCU. Someone's gonna tell me if I'm wrong or not. No? All right.
I think that was the first time.
So that was
you're right.
cool look. We added some characters like that intern of Darcy's intern. That was something. That was something. Malekith is a terrible villain, and even though he gets the kill on Frigga, I still think that he was worthless. The Loki character changed a lot. So as you like, the development happened. And so I can recognize Loki and the swerve that he got killed, but he didn't really get killed. It led to a good final scene towards the ending of it. Thor character wise, he wasn't jokey. He was the worst he's ever been. He was just like dull, heroic, and I kept wondering where are the rest of the Avengers during his fight.
Oh, don't worry. They're just off letting a million people die because
You know what?
Man,
I agree with you. That thought came to my mind. I was like,
Yeah,
where are they all?
yeah. That's the thing.
The same goes with Winter Soldier, and I like Winter Soldier.
Where they are,
Yeah.
or rather where
Like-
they were not, is in the budget.
Like the planes are all crashing down the city, but like no one else decides to show up. Anyway, Chillmonger, move on. Keep going. Sorry.
Like, yeah,
It's
shut
not
up. You can
just-
move on now.
the
It's
best
not an
part,
issue, but that's funny.
Asgard was explored a little bit further. The friendship between Thor and Heimdall was added. The next time we'd see Heimdall, he wasn't as cool. He was kind of on the run. He had a little moment with the eyes in Ragnarok. Well, it was a world building, expanding movie. Just because it was the worst of the Marvel movies, we give it a rough time.
Okay. Do you want to add more?
No, I'm not you. I don't have like these video essay topic points. If you want to ask me a question, I might have an answer though.
I don't know. Um, like you've seen the entire MCU, but like, where would you place that movie? Like, is it really rock bottom MCU, or you feel like other movies did reach that rock bottom?
Like phase 2.
Eternals was bad, worse than this. What else was worse? I didn't like Guardians 2 as much as I liked this because I thought Guardians 2 just lost his powers. Like that was so stupid. Why did we go through 2 hours so you could lose your powers?
Oh, Guardians
And-
2. Guardians 2 is is the best movie of the MCU for me.
See.
Are you kidding me? What the? No.
Oh yeah, then obviously the second Black Panther movie was dog shit, but
I agree.
That
That
goes
was
without
one
saying.
of the worst movie I've ever seen.
you know, yeah. So there's like 3 movies that are worse than this now.
So, oh my, this is sad. Damn.
Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes is a. Most
So,
people don't know how this website works.
did you like the darker tone, or you really feel like that was really an issue? That was why the movie was so bad and chill.
Maybe because it wasn't so light that it contributed to it. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is something. Thank you a lot for sharing. So, I think, except if you guys would like to add more, it's the right moment to share our grade out of 10 for this masterpiece that deserves the love. I cannot say it with a straight face. For me, it's a 3.5 out of 10, which is really low. And I like the intent. I just hated the execution so much. So Gray, what would be your grade out of 10?
I was just talking while muted. I think I'd give it like 5.5. I think it's slightly more entertaining than not, but extremely forgettable. So it just kind of seems average, and I think that's kind of why people use it as kind of an insult. Like this is the Thor 2, like the average, just kind of meh. So I don't know. I think I'd go 5.5.
What about you, bald guy? What would be your grade out of 10?
3. It's terrible. One of the most boring movies I've seen in years.
If DC is back, he can share his grade. If DC is back, is he back? DC. I don't think so. So chill. What would be your grade out of 10?
I gotta go and double Alex's score and give it a 6, and that's impressively low because I used to say something like, even the bad Marvel movies are good. All of them are at least 8 out of 10. I'll give it 6 now. And I haven't watched it in probably 2 years since like the Thor Love and Thunder movie came out and I did my rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a 6. But it's not like a waste of money. It's still a superhero fighting bad, and that's always nice to have in our media.
So,
I
okay,
agree.
just so you know, Chillmonger, just so you know, because it's the first time we've met. I am not. I don't give a shit about comics. Mostly, I don't care about the MCU that much. Like I'm I'm a film teacher and a filmmaker, so maybe you'll see me like having harsher harsher grades. That's for that. You know, like I watch a lot of stuff all the time. So
When's the last time you watched something that was an 8, 9, or 10?
well, actually, this
Last
week.
year, I think 2023 had
Last
9 or
year?
10s for you. Well,
No, I mean this week. Like I've watched some really good movies this week, but they're
Dune,
not part of the
I
MCU.
can
Dune
bet
2.
Dune is a 10 for you or a 9.
We'll get there when we get there. But you know, I've watched some really great films.
If I gave it an I score, I cannot imagine how high yours would be.
I think it's a full-on masterpiece. But you know, yeah.
Yeah, so Alex, I like your takes, even if we disagree a lot. I like
Yeah,
your
sure.
takes.
I mean, I don't like yours, but I like you as a person.
Okay, I will take what I can get. So Chillmonger, next week, be reassured, it won't be as grim or dark because I did enjoy a lot Winter Soldier. So if you did like Winter Soldier and you want to join us, we will have a more positive talking
Yeah.
about the NC.
Do what you did today. Just send me the link right at 4 o'clock, and if I'm in front of my computer, I'll be there.
Hell yeah, and I will send you a reminder of Sunday because next week is Tuesday. Like our usual day is Tuesday, but this week I had something going on Tuesday. So usually Tuesday is the right day. So I'm excited to have you on again, and it's amazing because again, I think you're a great guest, and I'm not the only one defending the MCU and such, and I feel so great, you know, like I'm no more lonely. Anyway, Chillmonger, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Oh my god, Jonathan Majors' new update is like crazy. So his girl that he was dating back then, now she's suing him civilly though, not criminally, civilly, because he like bounced her head on the floor and yada yada yada. So I just did a video saying, you know, he should probably just settle. He already lost. Everyone already thinks what they want to think about him. Just give her some money and go away. And so you asked me what I've got coming up. More coverage, like a live stream where I'm just gonna read her entire suit and we're gonna just chat it out. That's what's coming.
Cool.
Okay, looking forward for it. Again, you're a great guest. I'm glad to have you on, and it's amazing. Have a great rest of your day and take care, man. We will talk later.
And nice to meet you again, sir.
So that was Chillmonger. So I know Gray did met Chillmonger in the past many times. I'm sure you guys have met on other streams on our circles. But yeah, that was Chillmonger. I've known him for a long time. He was the first guest I ever had on this podcast, even before DC. And it's funny because I've known DC for longer than Chillmonger. That's the fun part of it. But yeah, he was the first ever guest, and he just happens to be free, and that was amazing. So once DC is back, we will air out his grade out of 10. And now I'd recommend we can move on to the next topic. I will mark down the timestamp right now. So I will ask Alex, what would be the next topic you'd like to cover?
You know what? Let's go with let's go with a movie that I fucking love and you despise. Is The Vanishing.
I despise. You're damn right, bro. I didn't add any issues with it, but I hated the experience.
Yeah, you're wrong, bro.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's a master. This is an incredible.
So there
film.
are issues. So I'm wrong to say that I have
And
no
yet you
issues.
don't know any of them. So we'll let the.
I have no issues. Again, I have no issues, but I hated
yeah,
the
I-
experience.
Yeah, but I'd like to know why. So let's start with you. All right, let's start with you. I'd like to know because, like, yeah, it's fine to dislike a film, but yeah, I want to know why. Because to me, this is
Goddamn
pretty much the perfect film.
subtitle, 1988. I didn't give a crap about anything. I was watching it. I will be honest. If we were not making this podcast after 20 minutes, I would have tapped out.
You had to read less subtitles than I did, man. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, you speak French. Like half of
Yeah,
of
but
the movie
there's
is French.
German moments. I know there was French in it, but like there were also German moments.
German moments.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what language they were speaking, bro. Like
They were speaking
no, there
Oh,
was
Dutch.
French. There
You're
was
suppressing a
French.
point for German moments.
They were speaking Dutch. First of all, it wasn't.
Okay, that's Dutch. Okay, that's Dutch.
Dutch. Yeah.
Same thing. Dutch.
But yeah.
Same
So
thing.
your only thing is that you don't like subtitles and you don't like that the movies.
Again, I have no issues with it. I just hated the experience.
Yeah, just because it's an older film and you have to read subtitles.
Yeah, exactly. But again, I don't have any issues. I just hated the experience. Like, for me to enjoy a movie with subtitle, you need to be like masterpiece level. Like, what's the
Can't
name?
wait until we get to Dark Water.
Yeah, Dark Water. Like, I will be honest. If I found a dub, I can bet that would end up being one of my favorites.
There's no dub.
That's sad. I'm heartbroken. But yeah, The Vanishing again. If we were not making this podcast, I would have tapped out.
Allergic
Now-
to quality.
Alright.
So I will admit there's a few things I did enjoy, but not that many. So the first thing would be the music. I
And
liked
wait,
it.
Wait, Marvel is DC's
Yep,
back.
back.
DC's back.
Oh,
Yeah.
DC, you're back. So we kind of closed off the Dark World topic. So, what would be your grade out of 10 for Thor: The Dark World?
I'll probably give it probably a 5.5.
Cool.
Okay, well, DC, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty much like I said yesterday. It's pretty much the same thing. I've been getting a lot of videos out. But yeah,
Okay, well, next week is back to Tuesday. We will most likely stream at 4 p.m., but that may change. I will keep
right.
you all updated as soon as I can. And also, Alex, you were not in our chat yesterday, but I also want to apologize. Like last minute, I was like, let's do 2 tier lists that I plan on doing next weekend, this weekend that comes. So basically, tomorrow and Saturday we have 2 separate streams. But again, I know you haven't seen.
I will not be able to be there.
Oh, okay, okay. At least we'll still have the link in case you end up.
I mean, Saturday I'm fully I'm gonna be like shooting my
Oh,
documentary for the whole day and the whole evening.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, at least DC will be there, and I got Cole's note. So even if Cole cannot show up, we will have his note and such. And again, Tuesday I will keep you all updated for Tuesday. It's most likely 4 p.m. But again, like the client at my new workplace effed my boss over so many times, so much. So we don't know. Like even my boss is kind of really screwed over with schedule and such. So yeah, next week I chance a 4 p.m. on Tuesday, but again, I will keep you all updated. So DC, thank you a lot, and we will talk tomorrow because I know tomorrow you are most likely going to be able to show up. I think, except if you change your mind and you don't want to show up. So yeah, DC, have a great rest of your day and take care, man.
You too.
So the Vanishing.
So you don't.
I like I like the
really
music, and the acting was on point.
Oh, yeah,
considering it's 1988, like I will admit
that actors didn't get good until after that.
No, I will admit the sound is decent there. Like sometimes sound were not that great back then, you know. The guy kidnapping people.
The problem is not the sound; it's the edit. It's the sound mixing because they didn't have the tech that we have today.
The guy kidnapping people was entertaining. The action was entertaining. The villain had charisma in the end when he offered the other guy to share the fate of the girl. The guy dying in the coffin was also entertaining.
It's one of the most horrifying scenes I've ever seen.
I agree on that. So you see, I see value in it, but I would have never finished that thing if that wasn't part of the podcast we are doing right now. And yeah, these are my thoughts, and I will let Gray go second, followed by Alex. I will be right back.
I'm sure Alex. Sorry, what was that, Alex?
Wait until he comes back. Like I fucking hate that. He's like, yeah, you can
he doesn't. He's not gonna pay any attention. He's already made up his mind on this thing. But this is an amazing film. There's just so much going on with it. The director, George Slicer, interesting guy. It is really acclaimed. He won an audience award for this, but even bigger than that, he won the award of the most terrifying movie ever, is at least what Stanley Kubrick claimed that this is. I don't disagree. Like, it is such an amazing psychological thriller, and yeah, and just the illusion that it has with the golden egg, that's just so amazing. And it just, I don't know, for it being 1988, it just feels so familiar. Like, who hasn't been at a rest stop or a gas station that's very similar to that, that's just crowded? I could totally see that happening, where it's like, oh, they'll be back, and just you're waiting there for hours, terrified. I imagine that not knowing, that would just tear you up.
Oh yeah,
there's just
like that.
Sorry, please go ahead, man.
Yeah, that scene, that whole sequence where he's just at the rest stop and trying to find his wife, with all of these people around and not being able to navigate the crowd correctly, not be able to see anything correctly because of that crowd. It is harrowing, extremely anxiety-inducing, and so well done.
For sure. And just the little details, like the fact that he kicks the Coke can, and then you realize later it is that exact Coke can. It is the one that Sasco was bringing back for him. It's a haunting film. And then just the amount of I don't know what you'd call it, obsession, searching for her that he's just doing. Like, you can totally see when it finally gets to the scene where he has to choose whether he's going to take the same journey and drink the coffee, because coffee's amazing. You're wrong on that as well, Multi. But
Coffee's great.
yeah, just I don't know, the impact of that. Every single scene has just so much impact when he's playing with his daughters, but at the same time he's doing the double, whatever you want to call that, the double duty of trying to find out if his neighbors can actually hear him. It's just so horrifying.
Practices like the move that he's been practicing to kill the girl on his daughter.
And it's also comedic, like just the way that he like tries to hold the door and like just pulls it back too much, where it does that like spring thing and like almost closes on him while he's trying to help somebody. It is just amazing. Just this look into like an actual sociopath who knows they're a sociopath, and the thought process behind like, well, if I could do this thing that's the ultimate good, could I also do the thing that's the ultimate evil? And yeah, it seems so terrifying. And I can understand why the US tried to remake this like 5 years later, and they did one of the weirdest things, which they actually got George Slicer, the same director, to come in and direct that one, and it is so wrong. Like every part of it misses where this hit. It is so weird. And then they give it a happy Hollywood ending as well, but just every single moment.
He would like the remake more.
I think so. It has action.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
And there's no subtitles.
Hell yeah!
Whatsoever. And you got to keep.
Why didn't we cover that one instead of this one?
Because it's garbage.
This is the good one. Yeah, the other one is garbage. But it's weird because it's the same director, so you'd think he would have the same impact. So the psychopath in that one, or sociopath, is played by Jeff Bridges, who I absolutely love in like everything except that role. That is like the worst role. He's doing this like really bad Dutch accent in there, and he can't hold a candle to this dude, which I've never seen in anything else. But my God, his performance is just so captivating. I absolutely love this movie, and everywhere that it succeeds, including the golden egg metaphor, they just omit from the US one for no reason. Like they don't have that in there at all. And then just the beautiful final shot of the lighter actually being the golden egg, actually being the tunnel. It's just, it's beautiful. If there's one thing that I could change in it, I just wish the music was a little bit more, a little less sterile and demo sounding. That being said, it's totally a product of its time. And it is very impactful. I'm sure Alex has way more to say about this, but just thanks for suggesting this one, man. This was amazing. I totally forgot I'd seen the US one before. So I was like, wait, I remember this, but this is good. Like, what is going on?
Was it your first time
this was
seeing this?
Yes, the Dutch one, yes.
Nice.
I was sure that was German, but
It's
Dutch.
It's Dutch-French. It's a Dutch-French film.
Yeah,
100%.
So I agree with everything that you say. This movie is an incredible film. It's my second time viewing, and one of the reasons I suggested it, not only to make you discover it, was also to have an excuse to rewatch it, because I really wanted to. This is a full-on masterpiece. Like, this movie uses the concept of dramatic irony to an extent I've never seen done this well. Like, dramatic irony is when the audience knows something that the character doesn't, and in this case they use it so well. When during the second part, like when the character is looking for his wife, and since we've met the killer and seen like the lead up to the kill, and now we can just see him like lurking in the background when he's like, I wonder where this guy is. It's very stressful and incredible seeing that. You can just point him out in the crowd, and you kind of want to yell at the character. He's right there. He's behind you. He's sitting at the table. And, in terms of pure character writing, this is such a well done. All these characters are incredible, but the killer specifically, I mean, the most terrifying thing about him is how much of a regular dude that he is. Like a chemistry teacher, family, who just wanted to see if he could do something as horrible, just to see. No other reason, just to see if he could do it. It's it's horrifying. Like that whole sequence when he talks about him being 16 and jumping just to see what would happen. Like this is also extremely chilling. Like you don't see much, you don't see him break his leg or anything, but just the fact that he jumps and you have that reasoning for it. In terms of filmmaking, it's also an incredible film. Like that first sequence, when they're in the tunnel and and the car breaks in the tunnel in the dark, which is then and then you have that callback at the end with the golden egg, and it is incredible. And when he's searching for his wife at the truck stop, asking everyone, and during the crowd while there's the radio, broadcast of the Tour de France going on, basically like having something in the background telling you this is a race. He's got very limited time to find her. It just adds so much to the stress of the situation, and it also gives you a very clear timeline of what's going on, which is a brilliant way to do this in term, especially when you deal with something like, well, it's not true crime, but something, like a thriller like this, dealing with a murder, disappearance. It's a detail, but it's one that makes so much difference. And yeah, just like this character dealing with his obsession with finding out what happened to his wife, to the point where he's willing to harm himself for it. Like, how far are you willing to go just to know, what happened? And, like, and I don't know. It's one of those movies where I don't think you can really help but put yourself in that character's shoes. Like, what would you do if the man who killed your wife offered you that opportunity? What would you do? 'Cause I don't know what I would fucking do. I don't know. It's one of those movies that will lurk in your mind for weeks after watching it. Like, just some moments coming back unexpectedly. Like, when you're in such and that's the thing. Also, like this, all of the main locations, especially the Vanishing location. The truck stop. These are such familiar places. Such, like. This was all shot in France and in Europe, but it looks like the gas station at the corner of my street. It looks like anywhere, which is also the brilliance of it, that you can just relate to that story so much, even though you haven't necessarily lived anything like that. Uh, it's an incredible film, an incredible achievement in terms of filmmaking. Yeah, with one of the most chilling ending I've ever seen in a movie ever. And yeah, that the actor who plays the killer, so his name, Bernard Pierre Donadieu, which is a very very French name.
French. Yeah, I'm like, what the okay.
So yeah, he's been in a lot of things in France, but this was like his. I think this is his best role.
It's unforgettable.
Oh yeah, he's incredible. I mean, all of the actors are great. Even like the actress who plays Saskia, the wife, she who disappears.
Mhm.
She's great. She's incredible, and
For sure.
you really do get to like her, which is very cool. She has a personality. She has quirks. She's fun to be around, and you would understand right away why this guy would obsess over her disappearance.
And it's just so tragic that she kind of keeps putting herself back there with the guy, and and it's just it works so well.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. The tension in this movie is incredible. Yeah, again, I keep saying incredible, but it is. Like, again, the way they work with dramatic irony. When you're in the know of that guy being a murderer and the characters around him have no fucking clue, it's absolutely terrifying. And that last scene, when he's just watching his wife water the plants, and it's like right, and you know that both this couple are buried right under those plants, right on this property. It's God, this movie's a masterpiece. I have nothing wrong to say about this. Yeah. There you go. That's my review of The Vanishing. It's a full on masterpiece.
So, my enjoyment is out of the 3. I truly hated the experience. But
You say 3 out of 3? What out of
3
what
out of 10. But
Okay, I was like, wait, is that 100%? Is that like a 10? What's 3 out
no,
of
my grade as a reviewer that cannot find valid issues is a 10. So that's a perfect movie, but I hated the experience. Dre, what would be your grade out of 10?
My grade for your ranking is befuddlement. I have no idea how you grade films or whatever. Like
I
it's a
don't have
3.
issues. I don't take away points. It's as simple as that. But I still have
You understand the couple of
life
jokes
enjoyment.
in this one. I don't know. Your thing is weird, man. I think it is damn near perfect. I think if they had a slightly higher budget, they could have gotten the music a little bit better, but this is a damn near flawless film. To me, it's a 10. I do wish maybe it was just the copy that I was watching, but the audio did seem just a little kind of weak. So I would want it, let's get them some better music in there. But it is unforgettable. It's an awesome soundtrack. I just wish the recording sounded a little bit better. But yeah, 10 out of 10, man.
Okay, so Alex, what would be your grade out of 10?
Oh, it's a perfect film. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece and one of my favorite films of all time.
Nice. So before we go over the next topic, I gotta screen share my explanation of my grading system. How I grade.
Okay.
There we are. 10 means no issue whatsoever. First issue makes it 9.7. Second 9.5. And after the third one, each issue takes out 0.5.
Okay, if a character, like in character, is making a bad joke because they're not very funny, so you think the joke is not funny, you're going to take off 2.
I blame it on the writers, not the character.
Yeah, but if the character is actually supposed to not be an actual comedian and they just tell like kind of a cheesy joke, you're like, that was not funny. 2.5 points off. I don't know.
No,
man.
0.5 off. Just 0.5
But still, dude,
off.
it doesn't make sense. Again, not like each humor is one thing about a movie. It's not. It's one of the aspects. You can't take away like 0.5 points.
Yes, that's my grading system. I have every right to do.
I
so.
know it makes no sense though. That's what we're saying.
Okay. Next one. I'm sure I will be the only one on my boat, but Drive Away Dolls. Fuck this movie.
You know what?
So what do you think this movie is? Out of curiosity. What do you think? Like, if you were to compare this to any movie, what should it be compared to?
Can I compare it to a TV show?
Sure.
Shield, because it's Shield bad. I hated this movie
I don't think
so
you
much.
quite understand, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you hated about it.
It's like cooking beer, but with 2 girls.
Oh my god, you're so wrong. Oh my god.
Like I thought Lisa Frankenstein last week was more enjoyable, but I also thought it was a worse movie. So this is slightly better than Lisa for me, but Lisa was more enjoyable. I know it's messy and weird, but yeah. This movie, I could not support it. I truly hated it.
Why?
So, my issues.
Now
The
you
humor
cannot-
doesn't land.
Yeah, you can't just go not funny 20 times. Like we know.
Actually, I
this film
can.
is funny.
Next up would be
you do
humor
something
doesn't
that would
land.
actually like help anyone else.
Here,
understand
I
what you're
actually
saying,
have
though.
I actually
Give an
have
example.
a proper example there. The first bedroom sequence, they overdid it too many times, trying to be so hard to be funny when it wasn't.
It's a movie about it's a lot of it is about sex, dude.
I know.
You need to show sex scenes in a movie about sex.
I'm not saying the sex scene is wrong. I'm saying the humor in it was bad because it wasn't funny. More unfunny humor breaks my brain. I guess that was one of the racial joke or something, or like religion joke at some point. Next up would be character who were forgettable. All I know is there's one that's very open about bedroom fun, while the other is not. Next up would be the lead character is one-dimensional. She's just all about bedroom fun, and that's it. The D joke by the end wasn't funny. Can't remember what I refer to. I want to forget I've seen that movie, to be honest. Next up would be not funny shower scene with the senator toy. Humor doesn't land with the Democrat failed attempt at joke. And
Okay.
humor was the worst thing about that movie. I truly hated this movie so much.
So you do understand that humor is subjective, right? And there are different styles of humor. And sorry, I'll let you finish and then I'll go. Sorry, man.
There's a few things I will kind of defend. The music, I liked it. The start was entertaining. The action was entertaining. The action was entertaining. The action was entertaining. I'm dead in the inside after watching that. Yeah. My enjoyment of that movie is 1 or 2. I truly hated the experience. And I will pass the mic to Gray.
Yeah. So I had a completely different experience with this. So I am primed to like it. I love the Coen brothers. I had recently seen Ethan Coen. So they both went separate recently. And sorry, Joel Coen had just done, now I'm forgetting the
Tragedy of Macbeth.
Tragedy of Macbeth. Thank you. I knew it was Macbeth, but I couldn't remember. It is awesome. It's kind of the opposite of this film. It's black and white. It's super based on performance. And it's just, it really is kind of in many ways the opposite of this. But I think it would be super unfair to, kind of compare the two. So I don't know if you're familiar with, I think it was about a decade ago, there was this couple of films called Grindhouse that Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino put out. And it's a double feature. It's meant to be a Grindhouse feature. It's meant to be B movies. I wouldn't see comparing those two movies to No Country for Old Men, or compare it to There Will Be Blood. Any of the Oscar ones from this year, they're not meant to be that. And that's the same thing with this film. So actually, Ethan Coen and his wife, they decided to make a trilogy of queer themed B movies. And this is the first one. The next one, Honey Don't, is actually shooting now. It was supposed to go into production in March, so maybe they're not quite shooting, but yeah, it's gonna again star Margaret Qualley, who I didn't realize that was Andie MacDowell's daughter, but once I realized that, I can't unsee it. She's like a quirky Andie MacDowell. But it's also going to star Aubrey Plaza and Chris Evans, so that should be quite weird. I don't know exactly what that film's going to be, but again, it's going to be a weird part of this B movie trilogy. And part of that, they're doing a bunch of weird stuff with this, like the transitions. They literally, so they have this 60-second film school that you can check out on YouTube, but they go over the transitions specifically. They're literally in the script for wacky transition and stuff like that. And they just tried to come up with these really weird, intricate shots that a lot of people are calling them essentially PowerPoint transitions, which fair enough. They do have elements of that, but they're done so well. You can tell the quality that goes behind it when they do the giant camera swoop that kind of makes that really cheesy looking transition. But there's so much quality that goes into making this look so B movie. Just that opening scene with Pedro Pascal and just the chase down that alley, and just so how colorful it is, and the weird angles that they choose, and you can just see the paranoia in them. There's so many things that just kind of give you the tell of what this movie is going to be. It's not exactly what I wanted out of it, but for a B movie, checks all the boxes. You've got a heist, you've got a MacGuffin, you've got a road trip movie now, you've got a friend movie. You've got people kind of realizing what their real relationship is. And then on top of that, they added this whole queer thing where it really is kind of normalizing it. Like usually when you see queer movies, there recently have been a couple of like queer sex romps. Like I'd say Bros was kind of like that. But I don't know. Usually they're kind of dramedies. Like somebody is either something tragic happened or there's always a coming out. It's not just like hey, this is a normal way of life. And that's kind of what this was doing. I thought it was really interesting to see that and just kind of see, that kind of traditional road trip sex romp comedy, but done from a female point of view. I really liked it. There were a couple of things that really took me out of this. So the Coen brothers have done this a couple of times. They've done it in my 2 least favorite films by them. They let an actor just do a really wacky accent, and it really takes me out. Jennifer Connelly and Hudsucker Proxy, that it makes it so hard to watch that for me. And then the Lady Killers, Tom Hanks, he also does this like over the top accent. And for some reason, Margot Qualley just has that like nails on chalkboard like accent to me. And I guess Ethan Cohen was working with her, and he was trying to get her to do like a Tommy Lee Jones, and then he was trying to get her to do and I can't think of her name, but she's a Texas politician. And when they realized that she couldn't do it, they're like, fine, just do whatever you want to do. And I am not a fan of what she ended up with here. I've heard her in a lot of the interviews for this, and her voice is awesome. Her other co-star in this, actually, she is Australian, and I didn't realize that. I had previously only seen her in Blockers as John Cena's daughter. But yeah, I thought her accent was awesome. The fact that she was putting on an American accent, I couldn't tell at all. It seemed flawless to me. I just wish Margot Qualley would have done the same thing with that. But I think they get a little bit unfair thing for the transitions. And then I think they're also getting some unfair criticism for basically it not being like No Country for Old Men. And that's not what this is going for. It's supposed to be a B movie. And I don't know, quite frankly, it accomplishes a lot of that for me. I guess I wanted a little bit more out of it. I think certain elements of the comedy really hit, but certain ones I do kind of wonder if Joel was the guy to tell them, like, let's drag that back a little bit. Like, there's a lot of elements of Raising Arizona in here, and I really dig those, but then it kind of takes a little bit too far for me in certain spots. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do next, but I think this one was just a little bit of a miss for me. But I definitely had a better experience than Multi did. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to watching it again. But sadly, I think it would be probably my bottom like 4 Coen Brothers films if I can count the solo one in that same pile.
Okay, Alex, you're next.
Okay, so I'm gonna be kind of in the mix of what you both have had to say. As in, it's not a movie that I particularly liked, but I didn't hate it, and I certainly have actual arguments.
Hey, not funny as an argument, okay?
I mean, even though like for me, I agree with you on that. The humor was not for me. I didn't find this to be particularly funny, but mostly because that kind of humor doesn't really reach me. Like it was very cartoony and over the top. Even though it's the point, it doesn't really work for me. But I do think this movie has a lot to like. Again, like the 80s B movie aesthetic is incredibly well done. I think wasn't bothered at all by Margaret Qualley's accent. I think it works for me. And I think, and what I liked the most about this is when you think about it, it's mostly a movie about 2 young lesbians being chased by straight men for like 2 hours.
This I admit that was funny. Okay, this I admit that was one of the
and
few
and like
things
and
I
that's
enjoyed.
and it's also kind of the point, when, like we have that opening scene with Geraldine Viswanathan's character Marianne, when she's at work and she's getting hit on by this straight guy, and he just won't get the hint. This movie is a lot about that, and they talk a lot about how driving through the Bible Belt in the more conservative states of the U.S. during their road trip. this is a movie that's a lot about that, like how gay people have to find their own little niche, their own little spot, uh, in a country that's more and more conservative and more against them. Which and so you have, and which is why these two characters are so interesting together. You have a character that's very overt and very extravagant with her sexuality, and one that is not, and more like not chaste, but she doesn't accept herself as much. And this is a movie about accepting oneself, right? When they drive, and like this is a movie that has a literal character progression. It's literal in the sense that they drive from one point to another, and at the end of that road, uh, both characters have evolved.
On that, I admit, maybe not both, but I will admit the
Marianne.
more closed up one is more opened up and
the other
more
one is
okay with that.
more closed up too. If you notice, she does end up, finding somebody that she could be monogamous with and is choosing to actually spend her life with.
Yeah,
I would argue both of
Yeah,
them have changed.
sure. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
didn't give a shit about the other one, to be honest.
Maybe that's a
But
you
still,
problem.
My
You
favorite was the
picked out
closed
one of
up one because she got growth. But
I
yeah.
mean, both had growth. Like
They both did. You're just ignoring the other one.
Yeah, like the point is, one of them is extremely overt and like it kind of her own, like that intro scene that you hate so much, that sex scene. The point is to show that character, to show us that she is, she makes her sexuality her whole personality.
That was my issue with her because that's her only character trait.
Well, yeah, but she evolves, she changes, she realizes that she doesn't need to do that.
And that's totally not her only character trait. That's so uncharitable. She also is extremely, what would you say, outspoken. She kind of doesn't shut up. There's a ton of different traits that go with her, man. You just see the one and you're focusing on it. But I think that's extremely unfair.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so yeah, I really like that part. The fact, yeah, it's a movie about that. About like not only like accepting oneself and your own sexuality, but also how do you deal with that in a world that is trying to shut you off. And I think and it could have been done better in a bunch of parts. Like personally, the big twist that it's just a bunch of dildos that's in the suitcase.
It's not just.
Like,
they're powerful.
I mean, no, I know they're. I mean, they do. Yeah, they are literal phallic symbols, which is a great joke in itself. That is very funny. The fact that they are symbolic and they are penises. They are phallic symbols, literally. But like even though for me that joke didn't land, I get why they're doing it. Like because they're from politicians, like important people, and they represent like the sexuality of more repressed people that they literally hide. That they literally hide away. In this case, it's in a suitcase. And that's a brilliant way to do it. So you have basically a 2 point of views. Someone that's like very accepting of your sexuality, and then you have these more conservative people that try to pretend that they don't have any sexuality. Which is why the dildos are in the suitcase instead of a bunch of money and shit. I think my main issue with this is that once most of the comedy didn't land for me, but that's mostly because it wasn't made for me. Like I'm not the target audience for this movie, and that's totally fine.
For sure.
Yeah, but I do think that and I do think that the Coen brothers are better as a duo because I think each of them brings something to the table that the other doesn't have. Like this one directed by Ethan, he does have the comedy aspect down, but he's missing the more profound, the more artistic sensitivities of his brother, which and to me like that makes them whole, and that's why they work so well together. And I think both of them are missing what the other one has. I think it shows particularly in this one, but still there is a lot to love in Drive Away Dolls. So yeah, and yeah, besides the humor and the fact that I don't know, I didn't really feel the stakes of the story very much for a lot of it. So I think that could have been tweaked a bit more. But overall, this is not a bad movie. There we go. That's
Okay. So just before I give away my score out of 10, because I feel like what I marked down on Letterboxd was accurate to how I felt. Very weak comedy that relies a lot on bedroom fun jokes that don't land most of the time. Characters are forgettable. This is too big. I liked. I'm proud of that one. Anyhow, again, my enjoyment was a 1 or a 2, but as a movie, I think it's more of a 4.5 out of 10. What about you, Gray?
Yeah, there were some aspects of it that really didn't work for me. I don't think any of us mentioned the weird psychedelic interludes that they also weirdly added in there. Those didn't really work for me. I mean, like, you kind of get what's going on in the character and you know, who that actress is that you kind of see in the I know they put her forward in the advertisements for this, if you will. But it's kind of interesting. I think I would definitely take those out, but there's so many little character things that are just so amazing. I can't remember the actor's name right now. It's CJ something, but one of the two goons
CJ
that
Wilson.
goes after. Thank you. Yeah, that dude is amazing, and I wish I had the whole cast up in front of me. I can't remember the other dude, but that dude's amazing. And then
Joey Saltnick.
that's the guy. And that dude, I've seen him in so many things, but here I can't see him as anything but like a thin Giamatti. But yeah, that dude just is awesome. But yeah, I loved their interaction. And there's just so many little things, the little character traits that keep getting added to each character. I love the way that those guys are bickering at each other. I love the way that the one is old school, so he can't hit the chick. There's just like little things. But when you get to just some of the amazing things that they're able to do, there's one character in here that every single time he was on, I couldn't help but just laughing. Did any of Curly's humor land for you at all, Multi?
For me, yes. For me, yes. Actually, I love Curly.
So anytime Bill
think-
Trump was on scene, just Curly, he just, I don't know, man. I was laughing at it the whole time. Though, like, that's.
I think I was just massively turned off by the start of the movie that any humor I would have liked otherwise flew over my head. I think that's mostly it. That's why I didn't mention any stuff I found funny, because I think I was just massively turned off by the start. And even there, like, I feel like some of the start was actually funny, but it got ruined fast for me. So what I mean by there is, if they didn't like kept bringing back the same bedroom fun joke like over and over and over again, I'm sure I would have liked the start of it. But I feel like they tried like 4 or 5 times early in the movie, like they didn't want to answer the phone and such. I was like,
do you
come
think there'd
on,
be
guys,
a reason why they're showing you that, though? Like, do you think that could be foreshadowing that like one character really deep down has this urge to kind of check up on the other character, kind of see what she's doing, to be in contact with her, perhaps foreshadowing that maybe she likes her more than just a friend?
Usually I like to look into stuff like that when I enjoy my time with the movie. That's why I was very
well, yeah, but
trying
here's
to
the thing, right? It's not fair on the movie to ignore the good stuff because you don't like one aspect.
Well, it's not I ignore it, I just don't see it, or I just don't try as much, because I will be honest, like, if I'm turned off by a movie, I'm turned off by it. I watch it out of duty more than enjoyment. That's that. I know it's the wrong approach, but I'm sorry. That's just how it is when I tap out of something, and that opening sequence just didn't work for me. So yeah, I know it's unfair, but that's the way it is. And I try.
Tap out. I understand that they tried to bring it back at the end with kind of more, you know, actual they kind of give you the reason why they're showing it to you, but even then, I'm left a little unaware if it's supposed to be like breaks and like we've now left Act 1. I think they do it 3 times, so I'm not sure if it breaks down to 3 acts, but it seemed kind of random and it just kind of took me out each time. And then I think there's a couple other actors that they could have really utilized. Coleman Domingo, he could have been such an amazing villain in this. Yeah. But yes, exactly. And there's just I don't know. I wanted more from this. I really wanted to like it, but I can see elements that I definitely would like, and I can see this being a cult classic for sure. So I don't know. I think I'd end up giving it a 6.5, but that really is low for the Coen Brothers movies for me.
What about you, bald guy?
Sure. So yeah, first of all, I want to add that I wish we could have had more Beanie Feldstein in this movie. You know, she's the ex of
the jilted
Mark
lover
Curley.
and police officer.
And police officer who beats up C.J. Wilson in one of the best scenes in the movie. Oh yeah, by the way, she is Jonah Hill's sister.
Yeah, I didn't realize either of the relations before I kind of looked into this. But yeah, she's Jonah Hill's sister and Margot Qualley's Andie MacDowell's daughter. It's interesting. Some might accuse Hollywood of nepotism or something, but that is kind of interesting.
But yeah, I do really like Beanie Feldstein. I wish she would have been in the movie a bit more. So my main problem with this movie, the humor doesn't land for me for most of it. And when the movie is a comedy, that's a big problem. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Okay, very interesting. So, next topic, we got James Bond from Russia with Love. So yeah, I think Alex is excited to start off on that one. So I'll let you start off on that one.
I don't know if I'm excited. So, as you know, I fucking hated Dr. No.
Yeah,
as you know,
and I adored it.
There wasn't anything really disturbing right at the very beginning that would totally take you out of this one. At least you're safe there.
Yeah. So, and I will say I like this one a bit better. First of all, even though it's still very sexist, it doesn't have as much of the horrible racism that the previous one had.
It's got a dusting of it, but that sexism is not going away. That's going to be a staple up until it's kind of a staple.
Yeah. I mean, come on, like the whole premise of the story is it's MI6. Yeah, they're sending up James Bond to be like, hey, there's this woman who really wants to fuck you. Go see what that's about. It's like, like that's how the mission starts.
You forgot that he was, he was disposed whatever. He was with somebody when he got that call, and then he decided to flirt with the secretary on the way in to get the mission to go see that spy. So you forgot that part.
True. Moneypenny is the best character, by the way. She's great because she's the one who thinks it's fucking hilarious that he's fucking everyone. And when they're listening into James's interrogation of Tatiana, and she's talking about she's like, oh, make love to me all night, James. And all the guys in the room are extremely uncomfortable, and she's laughing her ass off. She's the best character. Moneypenny is full on the best character in this.
I actually agree. You know what? I like Moneypenny. She's hilarious.
Yeah. And you know what? I will take a break because I'm getting important phone call. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. We got it.
Okay. So Gray, what did you think of From Russia with Love?
Yeah, I fully agree with pretty much everything that Alex was saying. So Dr. No, they didn't quite know what they were doing, but once we got to From Russia with Love, I guess before we even get there, the thing that got the James Bond movies made was the fact that JFK put on his top 10 novels list From Russia with Love. And then there happened to be a legal issue with the rights to it, so they weren't able to make the first James Bond From Russia with Love. They went with Dr. No. But because of JFK putting it on his top 10 list is the only reason why the James Bond series got made. So after they did knock Dr. No, of course, they've got to do the one that JFK put on his list. And sadly, this was the last movie that was shown in the White House before JFK's untimely no more
Demise.
with us sing. Yeah. So it is interesting. I think this is a better version. There's a lot of elements that you see that they're going to use as like the blueprint for the pretty much cookie cutter James Bond movies. There's going to be a ton of tropes that they're going to go with that start here. Well, I guess they kind of started in Dr. No, like the way that he shoots his gun. It's very unique, but it's pretty awesome. Kind of down by the hip with a hand up for some reason. There's some really iconic things that they start doing in this, but it's not quite there yet. And the pacing in this one really suffers. There's some really weird stuff going on. But yeah, you can see these elements, the like diamonds in the rough, if you will, that are going to be the future Bond movies. It does keep going to where it gets to a peak, and then it will sadly come back down the other side at one point. But we're not quite to peak Bond yet. But it's getting better. They understand what's making this movie. But yeah, it is the dude who, you know, all the guys want to be, all the ladies want to be with. So literally, he's going to be with like every woman in this film. It's extremely sexist, as Alex was saying. Yeah, so he's sleeping with one lady, gets a call that there's this lady in love with him, so he goes to flirt with the secretary before he goes to, you know, find this lady. But while he's there, he's got to go check out this gypsy camp where these two ladies are fighting.
That is where the most of the racism comes from.
Yes, this is where the dusting of it comes in, for sure. But they don't do the Turkish as dirty as they did with like everybody else and Dr. No. But I definitely agree with you. And then when they bring in this weird element for no reason, if there's one thing that I would cut out, it would be this whole gypsy camp scene. But for some reason, these two ladies are fighting over marrying the like prince or the heir to this gypsy camp. But after the shootout happens, now they belong to James Bond. So he spends the night with them for some reason.
Yep.
And the next day, no longer fighting because they spent the night with him. And then he goes on to the hotel where he's meeting this Russian spy. And he immediately sleeps with her. And, you know, they film it. There's some shenanigans going on. Just, yeah, that's kind of the trope. He's the ladies' man. Everyone wants to be with him. They at least give the Bond girls kind of more of a personality going forward. Tatiana, unfortunately, doesn't have a ton going on with this other than she's apparently defecting, but not really kind of somebody else's plan. It's interesting. They do a few things here where like he actually searches the hotel room for like bugs and stuff. He actually does like some spy stuff. That's kind of cool. They do lose that going forward. But the other cool thing is they show you Q. He's not called Q in this one, but he's their gadgets expert. And then you get to see some really cool spy gadgets. In this one, you know, he's got the briefcase with the throwing knife, the gold sovereigns, the bullets, the sniper rifle, and the gas. I forgot about the gas. That's kind of cool. That's a staple that they're going to keep bringing in. But what this thing did that none of the other ones really do is they kind of had this awesome anti-Bond, Robert Shaw's character. I didn't realize that's the same Robert Shaw from Jaws. Like you could have like put the two pictures side by side and be like, there's no way that's Quint. Like that is not him. Like that, there's no way that's the dude from Jaws. He looks amazing in this. And he actually almost got the role of James Bond back in the day. He turned it down. So it is kind of awesome to see him as the anti-Bond. And I really dig that element. It really kind of works for me. I dig the fake out before the start. I really dig a lot of the music that they're playing in this. They get the cue that like, okay, when he's doing spy shit, we need to play that theme. Like, okay, this is awesome. But they really miss, like also when he's like tipping the bellboy for some reason, they start playing the theme. Like he's doing some super spy shit by, you know, handing the dude a 20. I don't know. But yeah, it's weird. So there's a lot of misses for me. And the pacing just really sucks. But once they get to the train, that entire section is just like amazing. He's trying to suss out Robert Shaw's character, find out if he really is the guy. He suspects him. It goes to this epic fight that is just shot beautifully. And it really sticks out and seems like there's real impact between the two. Like they're really fighting in a train car. I love the way that entire sequence on the train happens. And then, yeah, it just, there's other downsides to this for me. Like, how the hell did they put a periscope in the Russians' base and they wouldn't notice this periscope just coming up out of the floor, moving around all sorts of different angles? If they're able to install a periscope, can't they install like a listening device or something? Or, hey, put somebody who can read lips like at the bottom of the periscope, like do something like instead of just we get to see what they're doing. So I don't know. There's weird things like that for me. It feels like after the train, they immediately go to this like helicopter battle. It just seems like it's a ripoff of North by Northwest, but it's not done nearly as well as it could be. I don't know if anybody can actually kind of compete with that.
It's a shock. No, you can't. You can't compete.
Yeah, I know. And it's like it really seems like they're trying to. Like I don't know. So that doesn't work for me. And then they immediately go to this boat thing. I think you can do like either the boat thing or the helicopter thing, but you don't need like two immediate like I don't know vehicle explosion pieces right one after another. And then it goes to like 4 different endings. Like I really think they get the pacing better a little bit later. I like a lot of it. I cannot remember her name right now, but I think she's number 2 in the organization. But she is amazing in that. I love her entire arc. I love the way that they kind of allow her to kind of demonstrate her predilections, but they don't. It's not like on the head because this is the 60s. They couldn't exactly do that. But yeah, there's so many positives to this, but they're not quite there for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one, but there's definitely area to improve in this. And I really don't think it needed like the 4 endings I think we got on it.
Okay. Do you want to add more before we pass the mic to Alex?
No, I'd like to pass it back to Alex. I'm sorry for talking too long.
No, you never do talk too long.
Nobody
talk too long. Nobody. This is a sin to think you take up too much space, bro. It's a sin to think that. Like, I have bad takes and we poke fun at it instead of saying they go for too long. But yeah, Alex, you're next.
Right, so I will keep going now, despite the horrible sexism in this one. And yeah, I will say this: like, there's a few positives for me in this movie. That something like they do, even though like James Bond still has the personality of this bland mug. They do have some like fun characters for him to interact with in this one, and I'm not talking about the women who are still just nothing in this. I'm talking about characters like a Kareem Bey, the guy that he meets in Istanbul, who's kind of fun. There's also oh fuck, what's his face? God, the Vavra, the Vavra. There's the again the girl from the number 2 in Inspector. There's the number 5, I think, who's a chess player. But that's a cool scene to introduce him with, like him beating a Canadian guy at chess in like 2 moves.
For sure. And the secret message he gets passed, like that's smooth, man.
Yeah, that is smooth. And I do like that they introduce Blofeld. Of course, I know it's Blofeld. Even though I haven't seen all of the Bond movies, I know Blofeld. So with that iconic shot of him stroking the cat. So yeah, there's a lot of things that this movie does that I actually quite enjoyed. But the problem is that the actual like spy shit. To me, that was just so boring. It is well done, that train sequence is made in a very good. It's very well made. It's masterfully made, actually. But I cannot get invested because I don't care at all about James Bond as a character. I don't care about his mission. And even though I love Robert Shaw as an actor, I think he's very boring as well. He's just blonde James Bond, which is going to be Daniel Craig.
Yeah, he's into Bond.
He's into Bond, but he's not in. Yeah, but he has the same lack of personality that Bond has. And yeah, I did enjoy the helicopter fight. It was kind of insane, kind of funny. They were like just dropping fucking grenades on the truck, and then him like rolling around, like having near misses when the helicopter tries to crash into him, which is, by the way, an insane fucking stunt. for the helicopter stunt driver to just like get this close to the ground like that fast, that many times, that is crazy dangerous, and they did it for real. Yeah, nothing but respect for that stunt guy.
I'm
Of
surprised
course.
nobody died on set. It's surprising that nobody died on set.
Oh no, people died. People died.
Oh, really? On set?
I mean, on a few of the on like stuntmen are dying a lot of the time.
Oh, this is
Uh,
sad.
But yeah, like this was very very well done. But like most of the spy shit, I don't care because I don't like Bond as a character. He's very empty. Just the guy who keeps his cool in every situation. Like when you have the scene in Istanbul where Karim Bey's offices are just crumbling, like there's an explosion and everything crumbles. Like everybody's panicking, and James is just like, "Well, this is a mild inconvenience," you know. Come on, like have a little bit of reaction, please.
But that's his
Don't act like a
trademark, man.
robot.
He's cool. He's cool under any pressure. Like, just wait until the next one. It's
Is the
sad.
stoic man until Daniel Craig.
Yes, that is boring. That
I
he has
agree
no
with that, though.
reaction. It's so boring. Because they could do so much more with that character, like, and they do. I know that they do because I really like the Craig Bond movies, and the ones where Bond actually has a personality and some character. But yeah, like, and I know this is a me thing, and I fully own it. So far this franchise is very much not for me. Um, I don't like the racism. I don't like the sexism. I don't like Bond as a character. And most of this one, like, yeah, of course the Russians are going to be the bad guy. This is during the Cold War, but it just fell flat for me most of the time. There you go.
Okay. Do you want to add more? So, I enjoyed that one, but I did like Doctor No More. I had a few issues with From Russia with Love. My first issue would be telling instead of showing the guy creating a blood feud conflict between groups. That was early in the movie, I believe. Next up would be during the fight, a guy broke glass, yet he didn't get cut. I know this will happen a lot, but I did point that out in Fast and Furious movies, so let's do it again. Next up would be nobody can aim in the boat on boat action by the end of the movie.
Of course, you can't
Next,
aim on a boat, dude. The boat is going fucking fast and like this. Of course, it's hard to aim. Of course.
bro, like at least one bullet should have landed on one of these two, man. I'm
Have you
telling
ever,
you, they...
dude? Have you ever shot a gun? Let alone shot a gun on a speeding boat?
I did shot a gun, but not on a speeding boat, though. I admit.
Oh, you should try it, man.
Yeah, you'll see. It's so easy to hit.
Highly
It's so easy to
recommended.
hit. So easy.
Hell yeah, let's do this. Plot armor on James Bond since number 3 could have ended Bond's life, but yet she didn't because, oh, look, she needs to talk so the other girl can show up and save Bond. I'm fine with Bond being saved by the girl, but I just
Wait,
feel like the plot armor
You mean
was...
when he literally pins her to the wall with a chair? That's him waiting for her to save him?
Well, she was talking. Before he used the chair, she was talking to him, pointing guns like that, and that she was talking, and then suddenly, at some point after she did her villain speech, she decided to take a chair, and then he got saved. But that sequence, man, it bothered me, and it felt so rushed by the end. So it's like, oh, we got like 30 seconds to solve the movie, so let's do this. No, I didn't thought that was well made. I didn't think so. So yeah, thinking back to that ending, the movie got slightly worse. But I still enjoyed it. I liked the experience. I liked the action, the music. I like that James Bond team a lot. Um, the firefight after and during the party was entertaining and well made since people on both sides were injured. Um, James Bond investigating a room. It felt like organic the way he found clues and stuff. I like that. Instead of just, oh, I will dance on the ground and find something underneath me. Poking fun at Argyle again. But um yeah. What else? What else? The gadgets. I like the gadgets, how they were set up and how they were used. The train, I enjoyed it. And the one-liners, man. I like the one-liners. I just enjoyed that movie a lot. But after thinking again about it, uh, again, it got slightly worse. I don't have much more to say. I think I will give this Bond movie a 8 out of 10. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, so again, like this franchise is not for me, at least not so far. Like I don't think this is a terrible film by any means. I'm just not invested in this character that I find so bland and uninteresting. But it was better than the previous one, so I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I
What
knew,
about you, Yuri?
I know you were thinking that this one was awfully sexist, and they do kind of, tone down the sexism when they actually give the Bond girl like a name next time. So I think you'll enjoy Pussy Galore a lot more than,
Is that in the next one?
No,
maybe.
that's later on. Maybe I actually don't. I've seen Goldfinger, but is she really?
Yeah, she is considered one of the greatest Bond girls, man.
Well, I
but
liked her in
that sexism
Goldfinger,
isn't
if
quite
that's
enough.
the same we are talking about.
Oh, it is. But yeah, there's not much that's gonna kind of change in the Connery years about the sexism. But yeah, I think the pacing is not quite figured out in this one, but they do have a lot of those tropes down, and they're gonna keep using those. They got kind of the blueprint, and they just will refine it in the next few. And I think it starts getting to where I can see why it was such a hit, but yeah, I'm definitely not the intended audience for this either. But I think I'm able to get a little bit more enjoyment out of it. Just realize like what it's trying to be. Like he is just that perfect, amazing like superhero of never afraid, and everyone wants to either be him or be with him. And I don't know. He is kind of the one who created that. It was kind of progressive for the time, if you will. But yeah, I think this one for me, it's still not peak. It's better than Doctor No, so I think for me it'd be like a 6.5.
Okay, I sound crazy as usual. So next topic would be Dune 2, and I will be right back. I will let whoever wants to go first go first. I will be right back.
I could go first and go kind of quick. Unfortunately, I kind of thought we'd get through this a little bit quicker. I'm sure Alex has a ton to say on this because, God, there's so much going on in this. But in every sense that this gives you, it is just a masterpiece. I absolutely love it. There are huge changes from the book. I think I understand why Denis Villeneuve did this, and I can definitely understand why he kind of kept it to this scope. And I think they were interesting choices. The main like difference for me that I kind of wish he didn't do was that time crunch. In the book, it takes place over like 2 years. In this one, it's supposedly over 6 months, which doesn't allow for a couple of characters that are there in the book to be here. I think that's a miss, but I understand what he's trying to do. He wasn't trying to tell Frank Herbert's story exactly how he told it. Instead, he was trying to get the intention that he had with this. Frank Herbert was not really happy with the way that it was kind of interpreted at the end, where Paul was kind of seen as some sort of a hero. So that's why he kind of wrote Dune Messiah. So instead of doing it like word for word in a direct adaptation, he tried to kind of represent that in a few different ways. And I kind of like he did this kind of religious fraction where there's more fundamentalists who are more down with the cause, and then there's this other part of the firman that aren't. That's interesting. I kind of like that. And he did the same thing with Zendaya's character, made her kind of the non-believer. It's really interesting. The one thing that kind of sucks with that is Stilgar's character, Javier Bardem. In the book, he's a lot more fleshed out. You kind of see like other aspects of his personality. In this one, he's kind of just comic relief, but he's awesome. I do love the character. I don't want to lose any part of that. I just wanted to gain more of it. I think if I had my overall wish, this wouldn't have been 2 movies. It would have been like 1 season of a big budget show. Obviously, it would never look as good if they're doing that. They would never be able to do it in IMAX. It's a huge trade-off. There's just parts that kind of are left out, like the Spacing Guild and the other houses. So you kind of get this Game of Thrones aspect that's going on in the book. That's kind of left out, and instead they just bring in the Bene Gesserits because he wanted to show. So Frank Herbert always said that the men and women were supposed to be equal in this world, but you kind of didn't see it. The women seem to be kind of the shadows of the men. Denny wanted to kind of bring that more in the forefront. And he thought a good way to represent that would be the Bene Gesserits. So I understand the choice. I don't hate it. There are a bunch of you would introduce a ton of new characters if you were going to try and introduce all that. That's a lot to throw into like 5 3/4 hours or something. So I wish there was more time that we had with this world, but I think the few things that kind of suffer is the character building. So you don't kind of know each character. You don't really know their motivation. You don't kind of see their arc. But every single frame in this, every single sound, every sense that this gives you is just so amazing. I think every single frame of this would be an amazing painting. And part of that is just how they did the film. They shot it digital, then printed it to film, and then scanned it back into digital. And because they did that, the effects just look so amazing. Like it kind of adds a little grain that just, it doesn't make it seem so different when they do the digital effects on top of it. It makes it look so much more smooth. It's a long, laborious process that, it takes a lot of money to do something like that. So we wouldn't get anything that looks this good, even remotely, if we did a TV show. And then there's some amazing behind the scenes featurettes on kind of the IMAX and the actual like frame that they decided to do on this thing. It is amazing. I really like every choice that he did. It seems super cutting edge. And any fault that I have for changing things from the book, I think he did it justice. I love this movie. I can't say enough about it. But I think that's where I'll stop.
Great. I will go next. So first of all, Multi, you're wrong. Zendaya is great. She can absolutely act, and she's incredible in this. But yes, Dune 2, I was very much looking forward to this. So excited. Got to see it the first chance I got in 70mm, which was quite the experience.
That is awesome. I hear there were only like 2 of those, and so damn, you got one of the really nice ones. I got to see it IMAX the second time I saw it, but dude, I am so jealous.
Oh yeah, 70mm was great. It was such a cool screening. So Dune 2. I think this is a full-on masterpiece. I think this is Denis Villeneuve's best film yet. And
Agreed. I agree.
And I think that he can. I really hope he gets to make Dune Messiah. So first of all, I'll say that the scope of this one is just incredible. In terms of pure visuals, this is baffling. There's so many ideas thrown at the screen every goddamn second. Like there's one of my favorite shots of the film is when you have Shawnee who's looking at Paul, who's like up like a sand, a small sand dune, and he looks like he's gigantic, like he looks giant, and then she comes closer, the camera moves, and when the camera moves, he gets back to normal size. It's fully a perspective shot, and it's one of the most incredible shots of the films in terms of pure visual. I was kind of baffled by the look of it. And in terms of one thing that Denis Villeneuve does in his movies, especially when he's taking like a previously established universe, you take the problematic shit of that universe and not fix it, but like put it in the plot as a problem that needs to be dealt with. Like when he did Blade Runner 2049, he used the sexism of the first film, like the way that women are very much not interesting and treated as objects in the first Blade Runner, and he takes that and makes it a plot point in the second one, and he does the same here again with women and the way that they are much more submissive in the book, and in this one, he kind of turns that around with having like both sides of the Fremen, one being more submissive and conservative, the other one being more progressive, and that's a very interesting way to use that. Um, and yeah, this is and like yeah, this movie has a lot going on, but I think my favorite thing about it is the way they deal with the teams and the idea that hey, following following leaders blindly is never gonna be a good thing, ever. It's always going to lead to horrible stuff. In this case, it's gonna be like full on mass genocide. Because yeah, the idea, the idea of like Paul being the savior, being the Lisan al Gaib, is something that the Bene Gesserit implanted willingly in Fremen culture, like decades and even centuries before the movie happened, just so that they could take control of the of the planet, which is what they will end up doing. And Paul is very much the villain of that story of Dune. He just doesn't know it. The person who knows it is Zendaya's character near the ending. When he drinks the worm jizz and becomes this person that sees himself as a savior and as a god. By the way, that sequence when that has his speech in front of the Fremens in the south. Holy shit! What a scene! So well shot, so well directed, so well acted. And yeah, so a lot of people still don't get the point that Paul is supposed to be the bad guy. He's not supposed to be a hero. Like I saw a lot of people online being like, "Oh, this is a white savior story." It's not a white savior story. Paul is.
So I wasn't crazy because I did thought of it after watching it. I'm like,
No, Paul is supposed to
that's
be the
not
bad
a
guy.
superhero origin. That's like a super villain origin there. That's how I
Yeah.
felt when I went out. So
Paul
I
is
understood that part. That's
Yeah,
good.
Paul is supposed to be the bad guy, and yeah, he is. And the point that he is a white guy who comes in and saves, the Fremen, who are very much supposed to be Middle Eastern. That's a critique of the concept of a white savior in itself, because again, he is not a good person. Which is why they have Stilgar. And still Stilgar and Shani, who are very much on opposite sides of the political spectrum in this movie. He's very religious, very conservative, and she's a bit more progressist. She does love Paul, but she does not love him enough that she will let him destroy the world. Which is why that last shot is so incredible. And, of course, in terms of pure filmmaking, this movie is a masterclass. Like Faith Rotha's birthday, that sequence is
So
one of the
amazing.
best. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in a theater. Like shooting it with infrared cameras, so it looks black and white. Like it's the same technique that was used in the Zone of Interest for the black and white sequences. Like, that fight is
It would
brutal.
be so easy to make that look just like Arrakis, like it's another sand planet, and just the way that they do it, just it differentiates it so well, and just I don't know, it fleshes that out so much more. That's not in the book, like it looks like that or anything like that. That's his choice, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, and in terms of pure art direction, like the way they show the Arconan's own world, it is terrifying. Like every time they are on that world, there is something like that is straight up out of a horror film. Whether it be like when they torture people, or the weird designs of the people in the arena next to Faith Rotha. And Faith Rotha himself, the fact that Austin Butler has a bald cap and had shaved his eyebrows, and like he's got the black mouth, with the black teeth. It's gives me chills. And we talked about Thor earlier. This is the second movie here in which Stellan Skarsgård plays a character, and in this one he is so much better as Baron Harkonnen. He is, his character is very interesting in this one because he starts out being this very menacing, figure and ends the movie being a pathetic little shit who dies trying to crawl up through the throne to get to take it for himself. But yeah, like everything that so yeah, every scene having to do with the Arconans is incredibly well done, is terrifying, and is extremely engaging. There's just that small moment after the fight when Phaedrata is walking down a hallway, and there's uh, black fireworks outside, and you just see the lighting change. And we got some of those flashes when he's walking down that gigantic hallway. This is just beautiful. So and everything, so everything they do with the world and the art direction is absolute perfection and is purely incredible. Like that, the Dune, the sandworm writing scene. Holy hell!
So
Um,
amazing, unless you're, you know,
Smoking.
uninformed.
But yeah, like in terms of pure sound design, like I don't know how they did it because it really feels like they just blew a bunch of sand like really hard right next to the mic. I don't know how they did it, but yeah, that scene is incredible. And when they bring the sandworms to attack at the end, yeah, also insane. Like this war sequence, even though it's kind of short, every moment is a little masterpiece in itself. And like the way these characters fight and shit. I do have some negatives about the movie, but they're very far and few. Uh, First one, I think they kind of did Dave Batista dirty in this one. Like, he's there to be mad and yell and then die like a little and I think
Yeah.
that's too bad.
I mean, there's little things where, like, like he's not using the visor and stuff, and like all of his other people. I don't know. There's little bits that he gets, but yeah, it would be nice to see him more. I
Yeah,
wish
exactly.
he had a little bit more time with every character.
Now, and yeah, also I was extremely excited to see what Christopher Walken would do as the Emperor, and the answer is absolutely nothing. Um, because I know that the Emperor is a bit part. Like even in the books, he's not very fleshed out, and he's barely there. And I think that's why Denis Villeneuve cast Chris Walken, because Chris Walken in itself, just by his very presence, gives gives off like a vibe, a certain personality. Um, but to me, I just saw Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken. I didn't see a character, which was
100%. It just
yeah,
took me out so much. It's like, why is he in this world? Like any other actor would be great.
yeah, exactly. So that was a bit of a problem that I had, but that's about it. Like the rest of the movie is perfection in every way. Like Rebecca Ferguson became my favorite character in this. For you, Multi, who doesn't remember the characters, it's Paul's mom,
Oh,
who
okay.
in
Now I remember.
yeah, who in this one is very much like pulling the strings and being like a sort of a political and religious spider who's just trying to manipulate everyone. And
She is the reason why Paul is becoming a villain, basically.
yeah, absolutely. But
Like if she didn't force
In the
him
book,
to
he has a
drink.
line that says literally, "You are my villain" to his mother. Yeah, you're not wrong.
If she didn't made him drink the water, he would have never turned to the dark
yeah,
side.
and yeah, like again, yeah, and yeah, she's incredible. Rebecca Ferguson really brings it, and she ended up being my favorite part of this film. Like when it comes to the characters, she's my favorite character in this. Um, and yeah, again, like I want to talk about the themes a little bit more. Again, the
Can
fact
I
that
can I cut you off here because I'm proud of what I came up with before. I'm sure you will bring this up, okay? Because this is
you
like
know what?
deep
Yeah,
MTT.
sure, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I will be brief because that's still your part. Uh,
No, go ahead.
Power makes you turn dark. Power is a wrong thing when this is your source. Like when you feed off power and when you're out there to gain power, this is when power corrupts you. I'm very messy because my brain is fried, but like power corrupts people.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't all about more powers, he wouldn't turn into a villain, I think.
Well, that's the thing, right? He's not that much about power at first. You know, like even he's like, yeah, no, I'm not like a messiah. I'm just a guy, who wants to help. But then he becomes about power, and that's where it's a problem because he sees his turning into what, well, basically, sorry for this, I guess, the spoiler for a future third movie, multi, but Paul becomes a full-on dictator.
Oh, I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
It is called Dune Messiah, so
Yeah,
it
hell
hints he was
yeah.
gonna be the Messiah, and he said if he brought that in, there'd be billions dead. So what happened?
Villain's dead. And
Yeah,
he
so yeah, he
lost
becomes
Zendaya, the thing he didn't want to lose.
yeah, he becomes a full-on dictator and starts seeing, is genocide as a means to an end, which is, how dictators think. I know this is just the beginning of that, but the seeds that are planted in this one are very, very smart and very well done. Because yeah, that's the point. Like the Bene Gesserit, who, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, he survived the water
Uh,
of life, the
Sorry
wormges.
to disrupt you again, Alex. I'm very sorry, but like I just read your comment, Gray. So Gray, just before you leave, can you start to be brief and quick about Halo and Invincible because
I
unfortunately
absolutely hated Halo. It was a horrible episode, just like most of the season. This entire season, they've had the potential for 2 good episodes. There was kind of one before, and then this finale could be it. Everything has been building up to this, just like it was building up to like the mid-season finale or whatever they called that, the actual other battle. Cool, he's got back his armor now, but they're still not putting his helmet on him. Oh well. I don't know. This could be good, but I'm really not interested. I'd give it 3 out of 10. And then Invincible, I absolutely love it, man. Like it feels like it's like up to the level that I wanted it to be at. It feels like they came back really strong. I was not anticipating a lot of what they're doing and like how hard they're going on this one. Yeah, it's kind of awesome seeing the team that's on the shuttle and then the kind of B team that just had to go against the Lizard Corp here. Just man, I wanted to watch the next episode the second it was over, so I'm excited for it. At least that show's good. Yeah, I think I'd probably give that one like an 8. I don't know. It was a decent episode for me.
I will wrap it
Okay.
up then. So I'll wrap it up. So yeah, I will just end my Dune.
No,
review.
take your time, Alex. It's just that I wanted to hear Gray's
Yeah.
thought before anything else. So, Gray, before you leave as well, what would be your grade out of 10 for Dune Part 2?
I'm looking for anything that I would say change. I can't think of anything. I would give it a 10 out of 10. Just every sense, like the actual feel, the rumble of everything that's going on in that theater. Every inch of the IMAX screen was just like amazing. The way that they're using your peripheral in advantage, like to truly take advantage of your peripheral. And then just every bit of the sound, the music, every part of it is a masterpiece. I do wish there were like certain elements that they kind of fleshed out a little bit more, but I think that's me being nitpicky. I'm really happy with what we got. I think he totally stuck the landing on part 2, where I think there was potential for it not to be. So 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay. Well,
Same rating.
so we are not done, Alex, you and I. But Gray, thank you a lot.
Sorry,
So
guys. My dogs are freaking out and I got to
Have-
take off.
have a good
It
one.
was awesome talking to you guys.
Talk to you later, Gray. Take care.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, we are not done, you and I, Alex. I just wanted to have his quick thoughts before
Sure.
he leaves. So that's
But yeah,
why. So keep going, man. We have
I'll finish up.
a lot of time. Don't
I mean,
worry.
I'll
And I
finish up
still
because I'm starting to have my throat is starting to hurt again. I'm coming out
Okay.
of the flu, so I'm gonna be quick. But yeah, like the way the Bene Gesserit, they manipulate like everyone around them. Especially yeah, like the Fremen are like, oh my god, he survived the life water. The worm jizz. Like yeah, sure, but he was trained. He was trained to do that. Like everything that is part of the prophecy. That's Paul was brought up to be able to accomplish. So so basically what he's saying is don't trust any blind leaders. It's never a good idea. Don't trust them blindly. And it's weird because it's a movie that's very much against organized religion, but not against spirituality. and I think it's a very tough nuance to pull off. And yeah, Denis really pulled it off. So yeah, I adore this movie. I think all of the actors are incredible. Um, yeah, Austin Butler is perfect as Fade Rotha. He's goddamn terrifying. Every new player that they bring in is incredible. Um, and I will have one last criticism of the film. I do think that it should have been rated R, mostly because of Fade Rotha, who is very much introduced as being this violent psychopath. But the movie, because of the rating, refuses to show any real type of violence or blood, which kind of undermines his character, or at least his presence as this evil being that is such a violent menace. So that's a bit of a problem for me. But they do have that incredible duel with Paul, between Fade Rotha and Paul at the end that I quite liked. Even him like mocking him a little bit, by uh, repeating his motto before the fight to him. May thy knife chip and shatter. He just kind of repeats it mockingly. And so yeah, and I think that their relationship will, for what it is, is very interesting. They're very much the opposite of each other in every way. And yeah, Austin Butler fucking nailed it. I want to see more of him now in anything, and I really hope that that Denis Villeneuve can get to make Dune Messiah, because I want to see that adult Paul, like raging his holy war and murdering billions for the sake of it.
Because he has power to do so.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this also: Star Wars would not exist if not for Dune. Like for the books, Tatooine, Arrakis, Paul and Anakin are are basically the same. Fade Rotha is basically Darth Vader. Like Shani is basically Leia. Like the reason that Star Wars exists is because of Dune. And So this is a little fun fact, and I'll end there. So Frank Herbert saw Star Wars and saw that they took a lot from his books. He was not a big fan. So in a future book of his that he wrote, like a future Dune book that he wrote after seeing Star Wars, I don't remember exactly what the phrasing was, but he basically had something called a 3PO, like a C3PO. And the definition of that in this Dune book is that a C3PO is a cheap and poorly made copy with subpar parts.
Wow. Feeling this a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, so Dune 2, absolute masterpiece, incredible film. The only thing I wanted to do when the credits rolled was to watch it again. And that's rare for me.
I did a bit exaggerated when I said I agreed to say it's my favorite Denis Villeneuve. I actually forgot he did Arrival and Prisoner, but Dune Part 2 is a close third for me. I third place, but not third, like third place. Like it's after Prisoner for me and Arrival, but I liked a lot of Dune 2. So do you still want to add more before I go on with my part?
No, I think I said everything that I have to say.
Okay. Well, I said it in our chat. I have the same issue twice because I did watch my clock twice. Pacing. I do think that Warren scene went on for too long, and the other moment I felt the pacing was dragging on the movie. I'm unfortunately not able to remember exactly when. I know it's like in the last hour or so, because I take as much advance as I can when it comes to movie. Like I've already seen every movie for next week. But yeah, that's the thing. Like I've seen Dune Part 2 last weekend. Um so yeah, it's a bit far in my memory. It's actually no, 2 weekends ago. Actually, like the first weekend after it came out, basically. Yeah, I think that's when I've seen it. But I enjoyed it a lot more than part one. Part one, I remember it being average for me. Part two is just a better version of it. And again, I will repeat the moment I mentioned when I cut you off. I think what makes the charm of this movie is the fact that the theme is power corrupts someone. And Zendaya was in love with Paul before he was corrupted by power, and she left when he was earning that power. And I'm sure he still loves Zendaya, but he doesn't realize that what he's doing is wrong
Shani.
because
Her name is Shani.
Zendaya. Because that's Zendaya. That's not a character. That's an actress. Zendaya can't act.
No, you're wrong.
So yeah, she's just playing the same character in every movies. That's
No,
like
that is wrong. MJ
anyhow.
and Shani are not the same, and and all these two are not the same as her character from Euphoria.
I still enjoyed the movie a lot, and that relationship between Zendaya and Paul was entertaining. And seeing it collapsing because Paul becomes corrupt was cool. The action was great, and the entire thing about the mother being
Yeah.
like the reason why Paul became a villain was entertaining because it's accurate. Like in real life, a lot of people do turn like bad leaf because of their parents. So it's just very accurate. And
Yeah.
I don't know much about the novels because I will be honest, I did try to read the novel, but I
They're
tapped
hard to
out.
read. They're really hard to read.
I tapped out after like 80 page ish, maybe 100 page if I got lucky,
Yeah.
but that wasn't my cup of tea. And like if Denis Villeneuve made it more um equality about, that's amazing. I like that. Um yeah, so very good part 2. I enjoyed part 2 a lot. And would I rewatch? I don't think so because
I would right away.
I do think 2 hour and 45 minutes is a bit too long for that movie. I feel like 2 hour and 20 or 2 hour and 30 minutes would be more justified, but I think the runtime is just too long. But it's nowhere near as bad as the first one because again, I feel like the first one had two perfect places to end, and it didn't use any of these two places. It ended later on a place where it felt like, oh, it should have been the start of a new movie, but they kind of did
Yeah.
that on purpose because that was part one. But I won't get along with this, like even if
Oh,
it's
yeah,
made
you're
on
right.
purpose,
You're
I
right about that. Even though I like part one a lot, I do. It is a setup. It's setting up everything that's gonna happen in the second one, and yeah, it
I
makes
like
it
to
a bit of
watch
a
I like to watch a movie and have the full experience. Even if you plan sequels and such, I just like a full story. And it didn't feel like a full story part one.
No, you're right. You're right.
Part two feels like a full story, even if there are hints at a sequel or other events may end up happening. I feel satisfied with that ending. I'm like, oh, I've seen the entire thing. If there's a sequel, amazing. If there's
I hope
not,
so.
I'm I'm fine with it.
Look, if it was just for me, Denis Villeneuve would adapt all like six Dune books because
There are 6 books. Wow, I thought there were
oh no,
only
there's
like
more.
two
I mean, no,
books.
there's more. There's like 22. Because Frank Herbert's son started writing sequels after his father died, but Frank Herbert wrote 6 books,
Wow,
and yeah, the last one is called Dune: God Emperor, and basically it's about Paul's son becoming this evil monster that is mixed with a sandworm.
wow,
Yeah, and
that
yeah,
sounds cool. Actually, I'm a writer myself. Like I don't know if I mentioned that on the stream
yeah,
you
you
were
did.
in. I know I did in other streams with others, but I write a lot of different novel about different stuff because I just have a lot of ideas I like to share and such. And I write big things, like big sagas, big franchise, and I didn't get published yet, but eventually maybe I will. Like my
Yeah.
hope is like I do it myself, so nobody can pull the plug, and I want to tell the entire story I want to tell. That's mainly like what's my plan in the future.
Mhm.
But yeah, I enjoy watching other writers coming up with like big saga they want to tell, because it's not about making money or anything. It's about what they want to share as writers, and it's very different than a lot of people that create adaptation and such. Because a lot of people that create adaptation, they don't have the creativity to create something of their own, and they rely on others, and they want to benefit from the ideas of others. So when you come up with your own lore and your own stuff,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I will always admire it, even if it's not my cup of tea. I will admire your work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like, based on what I've heard from Denis Villeneuve, he did a great job with this, because I feel like he did understood the piece of art he was adapting, but he placed his own input. He changed it, and he elevated the original product. And this, I will respect that a lot, because when it comes to adaptation, not that many creators try to do that.
Yeah.
Most of the adaptation is like, oh, there's that media I want to adapt. I will just copy paste it and stamp my name on it and say I adapted it. Cool. But I don't think it's the case with Denis Villeneuve. So I respect a lot Denis Villeneuve, and I also hope he will get to do Messiah. That sounds like a fun story to explore.
I mean, what he said was he wants to do it, but he's not gonna do it unless the script is better than Dune 2. So yeah, we need to have. So yeah, we need to have a great script, and
I will
I
be
hope he's
honest.
gonna
I
make
think
it.
this will be hard to beat, because just in terms of like script, I think it's amazing.
Wait,
I like the story Dune Part Two had to offer. My big issues maybe really like the execution because of pacing and such, but the content it had to offer is so great. It will
oh yeah,
be very
yeah.
hard. It will be very hard to beat and top and such.
It's
But
a great film. Yep, it's incredible.
so yeah, I don't have much more to say. I think this is so far this year, probably this year so far. I'm watching into my letterbox. I think it's it's clearly my favorite movie this year so far, and it's the best movie I think so far we
You
covered
mean
from this year.
it's not Madame Web?
We will eventually cover that, bro. Don't
I
worry, don't
can't
worry.
wait. I can't wait.
Don't worry. Like, great as PTSD from that, but yeah. I will give Dune Part 2 a 9.5
Hell yeah.
out of 10.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
10 out of 10. Again, I have some little issues with it, but they're so minor, and I was so eager to rewatch the movie as soon as it ended. Like, yeah, I don't have any issues. I cannot give it anything but a 10 in good conscience.
Okay. Well, the next two topic, I don't think you have seen Halo and
Nope.
Invincible, did you? Okay.
No, I
So
have not.
So, thank you a lot, Alex. You're amazing. I'm glad you joined the roster, and even if I'm not the biggest fan of what you suggest, I'm thankful to you, and I thank you for like trying to trap me into liking some old movies.
Hey, I think you like Dark Water, but we're gonna get to
This
that.
one I liked it, but like it's after 2000, and we are still in 2024, so it's not like very old. It's old, but not very old. So I admit this one I like, but I don't have issues with it. But I that's not my favorite movie, but I enjoyed it. Um,
Yay.
and I'm looking forward to cover that next week as well. Like, so far right now, the only thing that's missing from my watch for next week is The Walking Dead. I've rewatched every
Mm.
movies, and I've started Walking Dead season 4.
Yeah, what are the movies for next week? Because I know that I don't remember
I will
exactly.
post it right after the stream, but by memory, we got Dark Water, Winter Soldier, we
I mean, we
got
got Goldfinger. I know.
yeah, Goldfinger as well. We got Miller's Crossing. I'm pretty sure we got
Okay.
Miller's Crossing, and
Okay, yeah. A Coen Brothers
there's
movie.
a
Cool.
blank for the other one. I know there's another movie, but there's a blank right now in my mind. I will post it anyway after the stream, but um yeah, I really have a blank about the last movie.
Okay.
So I will post it right after the stream. And man, I like having you on in the show, even if we disagree a lot. I
Oh
like your
yeah.
takes.
Oh yeah, man. I like being here too, and I'm always happy to be here.
That's amazing. So what do you have going on your end of the internet?
Same as usual, man. I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just doing my projects. I don't really do anything online except this and posting like movie reviews on my personal social media pages.
Okay, well, thank you again. So next Tuesday, most likely will be at 4 p.m. if I get to work overnight. If I get to work over day, that would more be like 5 or 6 p.m. I will let you all know in the chats. And again, right after the stream, I will post the planning for next week. And I'm looking forward to cover these movies for this week. That will be another amazing week. So again, Alex, thank you a lot, and have a great rest of your evening and take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
So it's just you and I, chat viewer. We cover the next two topics. I will start by talking about Halo. God damn, that was bad. This is no surprise. This show is really a letdown. So Gray did share his quick thoughts. My brain is fried. So I got a first issue there with episode 7 of Halo. Plot convenience. Soldier just happening to swap side after hearing Chief's speech. The Admiral just does stupid shit and it doesn't make any sense. Even if they try hard to justify her choice. Soren subplot was filler, and his girlfriend is just a plot device. She doesn't feel like a character, since every time she is on screen, it's to bring the opposite to Soren. I truly hate her. This is a side note. The new Aussie being just a pawn from whoever is above him diminishes character since his agency got taken away. Pacing sucks. Most scenes could have been trimmed down. This is a letdown. Halo Season 2 has been so far letdown after letdown after letdown. I feel like they have something, but they don't have the talent, they don't have the skill, they don't have the firepower to reach the expectation they create. It's a shame. I feel like they tried to adapt Halo 2, which is one of the most beloved Halo game, but they are just too stupid. I don't care about the Arbiter. I don't care about the war between the Covenant, because the Covenant are surface level. They are poorly written. They are poorly depicted. It's just sucks. I'm broken. They broke my brain. It's sad. Mickey could have been decent, but she's not. Master Chief is just messy and all over the place like me right now. Now, I will admit, there's a few things to praise and defend. It's well shown how the first wave died. The flashbacks were entertaining. The music was good. Kai and Chief were entertaining. Chief and the new Aussie was entertaining. Miranda and Aussie was entertaining. The city collapsing was entertaining. The action was entertaining. So I gotta admit, it was an entertaining episode. despite its sins and wrongs and mistakes. It's not the worst episode we got this season, but it's not good enough for me. It's one of the best, but the bar is just way too low for me. I want to love the Halo TV show. I want to defend it. I want to praise it. I want to be like, I like the games and the show. I just cannot lie to you and tell that and believing in it. I like the games, but this show sucks. This is the bottom line, and this is a disappointment. For me, this episode of Halo is a 7 out of 10. And because I know we are near the end of this season, I will recap. Episode 6 was a 4. That was a terrible one. Episode 5 was a 7.5. So it was one of the best ones. Episode 4 was a 6.5. Episode 3 was a 5.5. Episode 1 was a 9. And episode 2 was a 9.7. So, to summarize, this season is all over the place, just like me right now. And I kept the best topic for last. It's a bit sad I have no one else to do back and forth with. But hey, he shared his thoughts. And maybe SSJK dot will show up. Maybe. I still have hopes. Invincible Season 2, Episode 5. I like this show so much. It's like night and day. I just cried how bad Halo was. And now I will praise how good Invincible is. Take some notes, writer. This is how you do a good show. So, episode 5. I had no issue whatsoever. It was a perfect episode, a masterpiece. It was worth for me to wait like 6 months before finally watching it. I exaggerate. I know it's not 6 months, but you know where I'm getting at. Do you? Do you? The action was great. Mark trying to help out the other planet was endearing. The squad taking on the monster was entertaining. Funny. Good mother and son scene. The fight was entertaining. Everyone catching up with Mark was entertaining. Seagull was entertaining. The music. Adam Eve was amazing. The guy was entertaining. I can't remember who I refer to. Both action sequence were entertaining. Most of the enemies dying were entertaining, and them getting taken out was great. I refer to the Globe Defender. I don't know what's the name of that squad, but like the Justice League of that show. Just them getting tore apart, destroyed, deleted. That was gore. That was violent. That was entertaining. And Zendaya can't act. That's randomly here, but hey, I had a blast watching Invincible. This episode was probably one of my favorites in the entire show. And they got rid of Clone Girl. Yes, they did. It's sad. You don't expect it, right? But they did. This show is well made. This show is how show should be. 10 out of 10 for Invincible Season 2, Episode 5, with a great cliffhanger where the one-eyed guy will most likely join Earth and help out Mark in the big fight versus all of the villains. I can't remember their name. That's a meme now. And this shall be the end of the stream. Tomorrow, we do a TV show tier list. Saturday, we do a movie tier list. Zendaya can't act. However did it. I pretend to be driver with Dole.